Chapter 519. I bet 50 cents that the best male and female singer will definitely fall into my Chen's hands. Put away your 50 cents and go home to buy a popsicle to eat. Do you understand the principle of death in hot weather? I think it's very dangerous. My Chen's best singer is a bit dangerous, but your Faye's best female singer should not be a problem. I have nothing to say to you. If the best male and female singer are given to someone else, I swear I will never look at the Golden Song chart. Don't quarrel, everyone. The results haven't come out yet. The Whale TV anchor room was in full swing, and the noise was earth-shattering. Many fans firmly believed that there was no suspense for the best male and female singer, but more fans were not so sure, and some even believed that both of them would lose. Why? Because it's impossible for there to be no tricks in this kind of award. It's not the first time that Lu Chen has been suppressed. It's good to win the award, but don't be disappointed if you can't win it. Lu Chen's talent and strength don't need to be proved by a prize, so it's better for everyone to keep calm. As they talked, many fans were influenced and felt that they should lower their goal. For example, the best composition or best lyrics are also good. As Lu Chen said, it's good not to get nothing. Otherwise, it would be too shameful to get nothing out of 6 nominations. Just as the internet was abuzz with discussion, Lu Chen and Chen Fei entered the main hall of the National Grand Theatre hand in hand and sat in their seats. As early as February this year, Lu Chen came to the National Grand Theatre. At that time, he participated in the Asian Chinese music chart and received 4 nominations. In the end, he won 2 Golden Lark Awards for Best Newcomer and Best Composition. This Asian Chinese music chart was also the last one, because it has been merged into the Global Chinese music chart, but the glory of that night is still fresh in Lu Chen's memory. It was with the 2 Golden Lark Awards that Lu Chen established his position in the Chinese pop music world. At that time, his relationship with Chen Fei had not been officially announced. In a sense, the National Grand Theatre is his lucky place. So this time, he has a total of 6 nominations. How many prizes can he win in the end? Lu Chen was also looking forward to the results. The main hall of the National Center for the Performing Arts had a total of 5,000 seats. Lu Chen and Chen Fei were seated on the right side of the second row. Sitting in the same row were many familiar faces. Tan Hong, Liao Jia, Li Xing, Su Yingying. They were all superstars in the Chinese music industry. Lu Chen also saw Lu Gangxing, who smiled and waved at him, attracting the attention of the people around them. Tonight was undoubtedly a grand gathering of the Chinese pop music industry. At 7:30 in the evening, the main hall of the National Center for the Performing Arts was full of 5,000 seats. Under the brilliant lights, cameras were faithfully recording everything from different angles. The huge screen on the big stage slowly lit up, and the golden words, Global Chinese Original Songs Award Ceremony, shone brightly. The white mist formed by dry ice filled the air. Together with the special lighting of the scene, it gave people a dreamy feeling. Soft music began to play, and the hall quickly quietened down. The host officially appeared on stage. According to the usual practice, the host of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony was still a big shot of CCTV. The audience was very familiar with the 4-person group of 2 men and 2 women. Respected leaders and distinguished guests. Dear audience at the scene and in front of the TV. Good evening, everyone. It was still a familiar voice. However, the 5,000 audience at the scene, including the big stars of the pop music industry in front of them, listened carefully to the opening remarks of the 4 hosts, which were like poetry recitation. As soon as the last sentence was finished, the audience burst into thunderous applause. The Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony officially began with celebratory singing and dancing. Interestingly, as the first song and dance performance of the opening program, they actually chose Lu Chen's I Love You, China, as the theme song, and the singer was a well-known singer. Her singing skills were better than Lu Chen's. She sang the essence of this work with a strong theme in the bel canto style, and also brought a wave of climax to the atmosphere of the audience. "You wrote this song really well." Tan Hong suddenly turned his head and said to Lu Chen, "Write a few more similar songs in the future. It will be good for you." Tan Hong won the Lifetime Achievement Award at the last Asian Chinese Original Songs Award. Now he had basically said goodbye to the music industry and rarely appeared in public. This time, Tan Hong didn't get any nomination for the first Global Chinese Original Songs chart, but he was invited to come to support. His seat was next to Lu Chen. For Tan Hong's kind reminder, Lu Chen quickly replied, "I know, Brother Tan." During this time, Lu Chen had finished filming TV shows and movies. He sang less and wrote less, but he did not forget his roots. He was preparing to release his third album in the middle of next year. There was also a solo concert, which was already in the studio's plan. Tan Hong smiled and patted him on the shoulder, saying, "You have always done a good job. Keep it up." Lu Chen nodded hard. While they were talking, the song and dance performance was over. The four hosts appeared again and announced the first award. The first award of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award was the Best Newcomer of the Year award. There were a total of 5 nominees, all of whom were newcomers in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan this year. After some suspenseful comments, the famous singer Yu Zhaoan finally revealed the mystery. The winner of the Best Newcomer of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award is Xiao Yao. As soon as his voice fell, 4 of the 5 candidates on the background big screen disappeared in an instant, and the remaining one was enlarged and highlighted. The sky was full of flowers, and the celebratory music rang through the whole audience. "Congratulations, Xiao Yao." In the corner of the audience, several people jumped up excitedly, hugged and shouted at each other. The camera's lens swept over and fixed on one of the beautiful women, which was displayed on the big screen. It gave the protagonist a close-up with tears streaming down her face. There was a warm applause in the audience. They went on stage, received the award, gave a speech, thanked. The second award was the Best Newcomer Group of the Year. Among the 5 nominated groups, the Little Tigers, which had just been established this year, was included. Sisterly, with her son and the members of the Little Tigers, sat in the third row, more than 10 meters away from Lu Chen and Chen Fei. It could be seen that Sisterly was still very nervous, so she did not notice the 2 people looking at her with concern. Liao Jia was in charge of announcing the winners. This big brother in the music industry, who was famous for his straightforward temper, did not play any suspense. He directly tore open the envelope and drew out the list of winners. His eyes were fixed on the thin paper. Then he said 3 words, "The Little Tigers." Chapter 520. Little Tiger Group. When Liao Jia read out these 3 words, Zhang Juanji, Yu Yang and Hu Yiran, who were nervously waiting for the result, were stunned at first, and then as if awakening from a dream, they jumped up from their seats with a smile on their faces. Jumping up together with them were the fans of the Little Tiger Group. They held up their support fluorescent signs and shouted the names of the 3 people. They were as excited as if they had won a prize. These fans have one thing in common, that is, they are very young. Many of them appeared at the scene accompanied by their parents. Although the number of people was not very large, the atmosphere created was extremely warm. Global Chinese Original Gold Songs List, Best Newcomer Group of the Year, Little Tiger Group. The Little Tiger Group is a boy group that was just formed this year. It has only been a short time since their debut. However, relying on their debut album, Butterflies Fly, and their excellent performance on Singing China, they quickly gathered a large number of fans and became the most dazzling newcomer group in the domestic pop music world. The Little Tiger Group focuses on the style of youth. The three handsome teenagers have conquered countless peers with their excellent singing voice, handsome style and enthusiastic dance steps. The sales of their debut album have exceeded 2 million. This year, the domestic pop music world was a year of explosive physical album sales. The CD, which was regarded as being on the verge of elimination, seemed to have suddenly regained its powerful charm. Chen Fei's A Woman Flower, Lu Chen's The Ordinary Road, and the Little Tiger Group's Butterflies Fly have all come up with a proud report card. Although a large part of CDs are sold on the basis of limited edition bundles, the influence of these best-selling albums is great. The albums released by many singers this year have significantly increased the sales of CDs, and even the very small number of professional CD players have been sold several times more than in previous years. Such a phenomenon makes many people in the industry feel incredible. Because of the weakness of CDs' low capacity and low portability, it is the general trend to be completely replaced by digital music. Nowadays, the sales of singers' albums include digital albums and storage media such as USB drives. Who would have thought that the traditional CD would make a comeback? And the albums sold by the Little Tiger Group, single CD accounts for only a small proportion. Most of them are bundled with peripheral products, earning higher profits. Among the 12 to 18-year-old age group, this boy group already has great popularity. Therefore, there was no doubt that they would win the Best Newcomer Duo of the Year tonight. After Zhang Juanji jumped up, he immediately turned around and hugged his mother. Big close-up shots of the mother and son were immediately given by the live camera. The hundreds of millions of viewers at the venue and in front of their televisions could clearly see the tears flowing down Sister Lee's face. They were sparkling tears of joy. Those who knew and understood Sister Lee all knew about her past and how hard it was for Zhang Juanji to obtain the glory he had today. All of them gave her a warm round of applause. The audience burst into thunderous applause. The three youths ascended the stage one by one and received the award from the hands of the presenter. Zhang Juanji gave an acceptance speech on behalf of the Little Tigers. He first waved the golden trophy in his hand and then said to the microphone, "Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the Global Chinese Original Songs Committee's recognition. Here, I would like to thank my mother first. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today and tomorrow. So, I would like to say, Mom, I love you." The last sentence was almost shouted out by Zhang Juanji at the top of his voice. In the main hall of the National Grand Theatre, applause exploded again. Everyone was cheering for his speech. Sister Lee was still crying, but her smile was particularly happy. After calming down his excitement, Zhang Juanji went on to say, "In addition to my mother, I would like to thank Teacher Lu Chen second. You are our best teacher, and we love you too." The camera quickly gave a close-up shot of Lu Chen in the guest seat. Lu Chen raised his arms with a smile on his face and gave a thumbs up to the stage at the same time. Zhang Juanji continued, "I hope you can win all the nominated awards." Was this a child's babble? Laughter rang out in the guest seats and the audience, and then there was applause. The sincerity of the youth was the easiest to move people's hearts. After the Best Newcomer Group, it was the Best Male Group and Female Group. Among them, MSN was nominated for the Best Female Group and won this important award with the album, Not Yet Lovers. As the first female group under Flying Stone Records, MSN was undoubtedly one of the most popular female groups in the domestic pop music world. Their debut album, Not Yet Lovers, released last year, had already won double platinum. They had more than 10 million fans on Wave's blog, and received a lot of notices, commercial performances, and endorsements. At the last Asian Chinese Gold Songs Chart award ceremony, MSN was defeated by the July Sky Group in the Best Newcomer Group. Now the three girls finally proved themselves with a more valuable, Global Chinese Gold Songs Chart award, and they also won the throne of the first female group in the Chinese music world. Mu Xiaochu delivered an award speech on behalf of MSN. Her first thanks was to Lu Chen. At this time, the audience suddenly discovered that although Lu Chen had not won a prize so far, his name had already appeared in the mouths of the two winners, and the weight was heavy. Looking back at 2016, among the groups in the pop music world, MSN and the newly rising Little Tiger Group were undoubtedly the two brightest stars, and their success was inseparable from Lu Chen. Compared with last year, MSN's popularity was higher, and its position in the circle was unshakable. Their Not Yet Lovers, Where's Love, He Still Doesn't Understand, and the singles Ocean of Love and Tropical Rainforest released this year, were incomparable on the original music chart and became popular songs played on the streets. These works were all created by Lu Chen. The success of MSN has also brought about a wave of beautiful girl groups in the domestic entertainment industry. This year, there were as many as a dozen new girl groups, and the influence could be seen. As for the Little Tiger Group, there was no need to mention. At least half of the credit for the success of Butterfly Flight was due to Lu Chen. He used his amazing talent to make the two new groups soar to the sky and became the biggest contributor behind the two awards. The glory of MSN and the Little Tiger Group was also the glory of Lu Chen. After the two best male and female groups, there were several other awards that had nothing to do with Lu Chen, such as Best Music Video, Best Arrangement, etc., each of which had its own winner. Then his first nomination appeared, Best Producer. Chapter 521. Among the 24 awards in the Global Chinese Original Gold Songs list, the Best Producer is a very important award, because the producer itself belongs to a very high level of existence in the circle. A truly excellent music producer, professional quality, and talent are indispensable. He is more reclusive behind the scenes, and his name is hidden in the corner of the cover of the CD record, but his importance is beyond doubt. There are many excellent producers in the domestic pop music world. Basically, they work for major record entertainment companies, or have their own independent door. The other four nominees with Lu Chen are all well-known figures in the industry. TN, Not Sure What to Do. Lu Chen was nominated for Best Producer with his own The Ordinary Road. To be honest, he really doesn't have much ambition for this award. Because the Best Producer, to a large extent, is determined by the connections of the nominees in the circle. And the fact was as Lu Chen expected. The winner of the Best Producer is Tan Hong, as the guest of honor, opened the envelope and calmly announced the name of the winner, Zhu Yu. His award-winning work is If There Is Tomorrow! Accompanied by warm applause from the audience, a middle-aged man stood up a few meters away from Lu Chen. He waved his fist hard, hugged his friends and colleagues around him to congratulate him, and then went on stage to receive the award. Zhu Yu is the music director of Sunshine Records, a well-known domestic record company. He is a classmate of Lin Jijie, the director of Flying Stone Records. In his more than 20 years of career, he has supervised hundreds of records, and it is not the first time that he has won the Best Producer. His strength is recognized in the industry. It is completely reasonable for him to beat four competitors, including Lu Chen, to win this award, and his nominated album is indeed excellent. Of course, there are many people who are disappointed, especially the fans of Lu Chen in the anchor room of Whale TV. He didn't win the first one. It's a pity. Zhu Yu. Who is this? I've never heard of him. How can he win? Never heard of +1. To be reasonable, it's normal for you not to have heard of the producer. We only know the singer when we listen to the record. It's so disappointing. I bet that Lu Chen can win all 6 nominations. It's impossible to get all 6. Don't worry, there's still more. No matter what, I will always support Lu Chen. Although there were many fans who complained and made sour remarks, there were also those who treated them with tolerance and a normal heart. After all, it was completely unrealistic for Lu Chen to win an award with only 6 nominations. There was no point in keeping an eye on the Best Producer award that had already been lost. Moreover, many fans felt that the Best Producer award was nothing special. After the Best Producer award, there were a few more small awards in a row, and there was even a song and dance performance in between. Central TV was definitely a top-notch expert when it came to organizing galas. They had made the award ceremony look spectacular, and the program was also carefully selected. Not to mention the creative concept, just the strong cast and the brilliant background design were enough to make the audience feel pleasing to the eye. Of course, for the fans who couldn't wait to see Lu Chen win the award, it was a bit torturous. Lu Chen's second nomination was for the Best Lyrics Award, and his nominated work was The Ordinary Road. The Best Lyrics Award was worth a lot of money. Although it was generally believed that the importance of the composition of a song was bigger than the lyrics, good lyrics and bad lyrics had a completely different impact on the work itself. Just like producers, in the pop music circle, lyricists were also very strong. The winner of the Best Producer award is Li Yunfang. In the end, the fans who were looking forward to Lu Chen winning the award were disappointed again. The Best Lyrics Award of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart was won by the famous writer and lyricist Li Yunfang. Lu Chen's 2 consecutive nominations failed, which inevitably made people's hearts become subtle. In less than 2 years since his debut, Lu Chen has opened up a world of his own in the Chinese music world with his bare hands. His talent and popularity are obvious to all. He deserves to be nominated 6 times on the Golden Melody chart. TN, not bad. However, being nominated didn't mean that he would win a big award, especially for a high-standard award like the Chinese Original Songs chart. The birth of any award might be accompanied by games and compromises. It was not incredible that Lu Chen, who had 6 nominations, won nothing in the end. Compared with his talent and strength, his foundation and connections in the circle were much worse. After the Best Lyrics Award was the Best Composition Award. It was Lu Chen's nomination award again. The Best Composition Award was second only to the Best Male and Female Singer Award. Among the 5 nominees, the other 4 of Lu Chen's opponents were all well-known figures in the industry for many years. The guest in charge of announcing the winner was none other than Lu Gangxing from Hong Kong. Because Lu Gangxing didn't release any album or single in 2016, he was not nominated in the first Chinese Original Songs chart. However, as a top star in the Chinese music industry, he was still invited to tonight's award ceremony. The King of Hong Kong walked on the stage and waved to the audience from time to time, which attracted a burst of warm applause and cheers, fully showing his great popularity in the mainland. Taking the envelope from the etiquette lady, Lu Gangxing opened it with a smile. At this moment, the covers of the 5 nominees' works appeared on the big screen in the background of the stage. Lu Chen's nomination for the Best Composition Award was Jiangnan. This song was first sung by Lu Chen at the fan meeting in Hangzhou in August this year, and then quickly spread out and became one of his most popular representative works. There was a period of time when the song Jiangnan was repeatedly played in the streets and alleys of Jiangnan. It only took 2 weeks for it to reach the top of the original music chart, but it occupied the top position for 5 weeks and became one of the most requested pop songs on major radio stations. Many well-known music critics wrote comments on this song, among which the highest praise was that Lu Chen created a new style of music. So now, could Lu Chen win the Best Composition Award with Jiangnan? In the main hall of the National Grand Theatre, hundreds of audiences stared at Lu Gangxing standing on the stage, and there were even more people waiting for the results in front of the TV and computers. Lu Gangxing took out the letter unhurriedly. He glanced at the printed text and was surprised. The next moment, his surprise turned into a smile, and he said loudly in Mandarin with a Hong Kong accent, "The winner of the Best Composition Award is Lu Chen, Jiangnan." Although he was mentally prepared, Lu Chen was still shocked at this moment. "Congratulations." Until Chen Fei gently hugged him. The moment of glory that truly belonged to Lu Chen had finally arrived. Chapter 522. Lu Chen was the first to lose the Best Producer of the Global Chinese Original Gold Songs list. He had no chance of winning the Best Lyrics. 2 of the 6 nominations that Lu Chen had received had been lost, which gave people a very bad feeling. The curse of certain death seemed to hover over the National Grand Theatre, becoming a dark cloud over the heads of all the people who paid attention to him. If he lost the Best Composition, then Lu Chen might go away dismally tonight. Maybe some people would gloat, but his fans would definitely be extremely disappointed. When Lu Gangxing took out the letter, the atmosphere in Whale TV, Lu Chen's studio was very tense, even to the point of depression. Even the barrage became sparse, and no one gave any rewards. Then the next moment, they got the first surprise of the night. The winner of the Best Composition is Lu Chen. Lu Chen, it's really Lu Chen. He defeated 4 powerful opponents and won the crown of the Best Composition. The audience burst into thunderous applause. Looking back at the Chinese pop music world in 2016, there was indeed no better singer and composer than Lu Chen. His talent and originality was simply stunning. Not only did he bring himself to the peak of his music career, but he also had a huge and far-reaching impact on the music industry. In 2016, Lu Chen had created a lot of works, many of which were classics. Jiangnan was only one of the representatives, and it could not fully represent Lu Chen's strength. He deserved the Best Composition. The applause for Lu Chen was not only from the audience and fans, but also from the other 4 nominees. Many people even stood up to congratulate him. The live broadcast room of Whale TV was simply boiling. Hooray, the Best Composition. Don't say anything. I'll reward an aircraft carrier first. Don't stop me. At this moment, only sprinkling fish balls can express my mood. My Chen is mighty. Don't worry, it's just the beginning. There are still 3 big prizes behind. Ha ha ha, I guessed right. There really is the Best Composition. Lu Chen, you can do it. Along with the crazy barrage of comments, there were fish balls falling like raindrops, as well as a domineering aircraft carrier. These aircraft carriers, which represented the highest reward amount, were not just 1 or 2 aircraft carriers. Instead, the number of aircraft carriers was increased by several times, or even more than 10 times, by the nouveau riche fans. The one with the most number of aircraft carriers had reached 100 combo. In other words, just this fan with the ID loves Lu Chen the most had sent 100,000 yuan to Lu Chen in less than a minute. Ever since Lu Chen entered the film and television industry, he had less time to interact with his fans in the live broadcast room. Such a scene had not appeared for a long time. Due to his great success through online live broadcasting, many star artists in the circle have noticed this huge fan market. Therefore, Whale TV signed a number of new idol artists in 2016, all of whom have gained high popularity, challenging Lu Chen's position as the #1 star anchor of Whale TV. Whale TV. But tonight, Lu Chen easily proved that his position in Whale TV was unshakable with the Best Composition award. In just a few minutes, the number of rewards he received broke the 1 million mark, setting a new record for Whale TV. Lu Chen hugged Chen Feier, and then hugged Tan Hong and Liao Jia. These 2 big brothers in the music industry have given him a lot of advice and help. The help of these friends is indispensable for him to be able to go so smoothly in the pop music industry. In the continuous warm applause, Lu Chen walked onto the star-studded stage. Congratulations. Lu Gangxing handed the award in his hand to Lu Chen with a smile and gave him a big hug. Lu Chen nodded hard, thank you. Lu Gangxing patted him on the back and then stepped aside, willing to be the supporting role of the protagonist. Holding the golden and heavy award in his hand, facing thousands of guests and audiences, Lu Chen, who was standing in front of the microphone, was filled with emotion. The applause gradually subsided, and everyone's eyes were focused on him. Lu Chen thought for a moment, then said to the microphone, First of all, I am honored to attend the awards ceremony of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart tonight. Thank you to the organizing committee for giving me such recognition and support. Most importantly, I am very grateful to the organizing committee for arranging Brother Hongxing to present the award to me, because he has always been my idol. Thank you, Brother Hongxing. There was warm applause again, and the camera of the live broadcast focused on Lu Gangxing. The superstar from Hong Kong smiled and cupped his hands. Lu Chen then said, "In the past year, I have written a lot of songs. Jiangnan is a very special work. Thank you for your recognition and love. I will continue to work hard to create more and better works in the new year. Thank you again." With that, he bowed deeply to show his respect. In the even more warm applause, Lu Chen walked off the stage with the award and returned to his seat. Chen Feier asked with a smile, "Are you very happy?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "I'm very happy. Come and share it with us." He handed the award in his hand to Chen Feier. Chen Feier took it and almost dropped it to the ground. She said in surprise, "It's so heavy." The award for the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart was the same as the award for the Asian Chinese Original Songs Chart, and it still used the name Golden Lark, which was familiar to the public. However, compared with the original Golden Lark, the redesigned award was smoother and more outstanding. The lark spreading its wings and singing was lifelike, and the image of soaring into the sky was more meaningful. The change in the design was secondary. The most important thing was that the gold content of the award had been increased big. The original Golden Lark was made of copper and gilded on the outside. Not to mention the light weight, it would fade after a long time. And now, the new award stands were made of solid copper core with multiple layers of gold plating. Each award stand contained more than 50 grams of gold. The base of the award stand was also inlaid with gems and crushed diamonds. The production cost was very high. Therefore, even if there were many winners of the Best Group Award, they could only share one award. Previously, Chen Feier had been nominated for the Best Stage Performance Award. Unfortunately, she did not win it, so the two of them had a total of 10 nominations. The first to win the award was Lu Chen. But don't be too proud, Chen Feier, who had let Lu Chen show off, said proudly, "I won't lose to you." The next award was the Media Recommendation Award. Interestingly, both Lu Chen and Chen Feier were nominated. They were competitors for this award. Chapter 523. Before the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart was born, the three major domestic pop music awards all included the Media Recommendation Award. The Media Recommendation Award was a very special award. It was the only award that was not selected by the judges or the audience. Instead, it was recommended by various traditional and online media. There were a total of 235 media recommending the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart, which basically included the three major special zones and many important overseas Chinese media. Therefore, the Media Recommendation Award was very important. It was bigger than the original three major music awards. In addition to Lu Chen and Chen Feier, there were three other real celebrities who were nominated for the Media Recommendation Award. The competition was no less fierce than the most important awards such as Best Male and Female Singer, Best Album, and so on. Accompanied by the exciting music, the close-up photos of the 5 nominees appeared on the big screen in the background. Lu Chen and Chen Feier were listed side by side in the middle, which made the audience laugh. It was very interesting. These two popular singers were a couple. Now they were competing on the same stage. No one knew who would win, or would they both lose. The guest who announced the award was Huang Yuan, the CEO of Waves blog. As the founder of the largest new media in the country, he was undoubtedly one of the best representatives of many entertainment-related media. Huang Yuan was only in his 30s this year. He was dressed in a well-ironed suit and looked energetic. He opened the envelope with a smile and directly announced the answer. The winner of the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart by Media Recommendation Award is Miss Chen Feier. Chen Feier. Chen Feier won the Media Recommendation Award and got her first personal award. This result was not unexpected. Because in the past year, Chen Feier had been the darling of the major domestic media. Her album Woman Flower, her successful transformation, her 2 TV series. God knows how much material has been provided for the media. Her personal portrait has also appeared on the cover of more than 10 fashion and entertainment media, and there are countless other headlines. At the same time, the big screen showed Chen Feier's votes. 109. This was a very high number. After all, the total number of votes was only 235, and she took nearly half of it. In the applause, Chen Feier went on the stage to receive the award and then gave a brief acceptance speech. After coming back, she smiled and shook her award to Lu Qin. Lu Qin couldn't help laughing. But this was obviously not Chen Feier's real moment, because the first super heavyweight award of the night was coming soon, Best Female Singer. It was recognized in the industry that in any pop music awards, Best Male Singer, Best Female Singer, and Best Album were the 3 most important awards, representing the highest glory of singers. The weight was the heaviest, so of course, the competition was the fiercest. In the past, in some pop music awards, there were many strange things where many singers won the Best Male and Female Singer awards at the same time. In fact, it was also because of this competition. And the selection rules of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart limited the winner to only one, so as to ensure the value of the award. Therefore, the competition was even stronger. Which singer didn't want to win this award, which represented the highest honor of Chinese pop music? Chen Feier's opponents were not ordinary people. However, this highly anticipated prize was basically out of suspense from the beginning, and the results seemed to have been doomed long ago. The Chinese pop music world in 2016 belonged to Chen Feier. This was the headline of a very influential domestic media article 2 months ago. Although it was slightly exaggerated, it was also based on facts and was not excessive flattery. 2016 was the year of transformation for Chen Feier, which was extremely important for the queen of sweet songs, who had made her debut for more than 10 years. Before the release of her new album, she was facing a bottleneck and dilemma in her career. Although her popularity was still high, her fans were constantly losing. As early as last year, Chen Feier's position in the music industry was a little awkward. She couldn't get rid of the shackles of her past style, but it was difficult for her to transform. In desperation, she could only develop in variety shows. At that time, she served as a judge of Singing China, based on the needs of various development. Then Chen Feier met Lu Qin. Lu Qin created a new album for her called Woman Flower. Woman Flower was officially launched on April 16 this year. So far, the total sales of online digital, physical CDs and peripheral packages have reached more than 7 million, setting the highest record of domestic record sales in the past decade, and some of them were even sold to many countries in Southeast Asia. Who else could be the best female singer but her? Although the curse of certain death appears from time to time, if the judges of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart will choose someone else for this award, the result will not be as simple as a public uproar. In fact, the jury of the Golden Melody Chart did not want to make a big news to please the public. Chen Feier winning the Best Female Singer was expected. Chen Feier, who won the award, was also very excited. In her acceptance speech, she first routinely thanked the organizing committee, the judges and the team members, and then said, "I would also like to thank a gentleman here. Thank him for his tolerance, support and love for me all this time." Everyone immediately understood who Chen Feier was talking about, and the cameraman at the scene gave Lu Qin a shot in time. Lu Qin, with a smile, stared at his girlfriend standing on the stage, his eyes full of tenderness. It's worth paying the whole world to have you. Half of this award belongs to you. Chin Fei-er's last sentence caused a thunderous applause in the main hall of the National Grand Theatre, which also pushed the atmosphere of the scene to a climax. Chin Fei-er bowed to thank everyone. Her eyes sparkled with crystal tears, not because of the sadness of memories, but because of sweet joy. When she returned to her seat, Lu Chen gently held her hand. Chin Fei-er whispered, "It's up to you." After the Best Female Singer, the winner of the Best Male Singer was announced. The photos of the 5 nominees appeared on the big screen in the background. They were Lu Chen, Yu Ming, Wang Quanfeng, Xuan and Oh Yang-han. Among them, Xuan is a famous singer from Taiwan, Oh Yang-han is a singer from Hong Kong, and Yu Ming is a big figure in the domestic pop music industry. Only Wang Quanfeng is slightly less famous, but he also has 3 solo albums in hand. In terms of qualifications, they were all above Lu Chen, and their fame was not much less than Lu Chen's. A big shot like Yu Ming was above Lu Chen, and was undoubtedly Lu Chen's strongest competitor. Therefore, unlike the Best Female Singer, the winner of the Best Male Singer was still unknown. Chapter 524. Lu Chen, Yu Ming, Wang Quanfeng, Xuan, and Oh Yang-han. The 5 nominees for the Best Male Singer of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart. In the Chinese music industry, which was full of talented people, male singers had always occupied more than half of the country. Therefore, no matter what music award, the Best Male Singer was the most important and the most eye-catching. Therefore, in some music awards in previous years, there were even strange things that several male singers won the best at the same time. There was only one Best Male Singer of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart. The main hall of the National Grand Theatre suddenly became very quiet. The 5,000 audience and guests all held their breath, waiting for the most important award to be announced. Even those who were watching the live broadcast of the music festival in front of their TVs and computers. Among the 5 singers who were nominated, Yu Ming was undoubtedly the most popular. The 40-year-old singer had a brilliant resume. In his more than 20 years of singing career, he had released a total of 15 solo albums and accumulated a total of more than 22 million album sales. He was undoubtedly one of the top figures in the domestic pop music industry. In terms of qualifications, prestige, fame, and connections, Yu Ming was firmly ahead of the other 4 competitors, including Lu Chen. Among the 5 nominees, Lu Chen was second only to Yu Ming in popularity. Xuan and Oh Yang-han were not weak and had their own wonderful performances in 2016. However, they came from Taiwan and Hong Kong respectively. Participating in the highest domestic pop music evaluation was undoubtedly a loss of geographical location and social harmony. Of course, these 2 were still nominated for the Best Overseas Male Singer later. The overseas here mainly referred to the 3 special zones in Southeast Asian countries, and also included the Chinese people in Europe, America, Japan, and South Korea. It was a general concept. As for Wang Quanfeng, he was basically an accompaniment. Therefore, in the eyes of most people, the best male singer was mainly between Lu Chen and Yu Ming. Yu Ming's advantage was obvious, but he was not without weaknesses. In 2016, Yu Ming did not release a solo album. He only released 2 singles. Although both songs had topped the original music chart, compared with Lu Chen's proud achievements in the pop music industry, they were undoubtedly dwarfed. This made the Best Male Singer competition a huge suspense. Who would the judges of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart give more votes to? Everyone was waiting to see what would happen. The person in charge of revealing the answer was Lu Ning, the vice president of the Chinese Musicians Association. This highly respected and famous musician had always been concerned about the development of domestic pop music. The establishment of the Global Chinese Top Songs chart was inseparable from his strong support and promotion. In addition, Lu Ning was also the chairman of the Golden Melody Chart's judging panel. The panel of judges consisted of 72 judges, who were basically well-known figures in the industry. Some of them were great seniors of the pop music industry who had retired long ago, some were senior executives of the media and news circle, and some were famous music critics and educators. Impartiality, openness, and fairness were the principles of the judging panel of the Golden Melody Chart. Lu Ning was the cornerstone that guaranteed the three principles of the selection. He personally came to present the Best Male Singer Award, which fully demonstrated the importance and value of this award. In front of the 5,000 audience, the white-haired Lu Ning calmly opened the red envelope and took out the paper with the winner's name printed inside. The 7 cameras at the scene were all pointed at him. Lu Ning's gaze froze for 3 seconds as he stared at the unfolded letter. These 3 seconds felt like an eternity, making people wonder if something had gone wrong. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became heavy and oppressive. At this time, under the director's command, several cameras promptly focused on the 5 candidates. Yuming looked very calm with a smile on his face, but there was still a hint of nervousness in his eyes. Although he had won countless awards in the first 20 years of his singing career, the Best Male Singer Award in the first global Chinese top songs chart had a completely different meaning. Lu Chen was calm and focused. His hand was tightly holding Chen Fei's hand. Obviously, his heart was different from what he looked like on the surface. Xuan, Hou Yonghan, and the others were either nervous or excited, showing their strong expectations. Lu Ning slowly opened his mouth and said, "1. The best male singer of the global Chinese top songs chart is Lu Chen." The famous musician emphasized the last 2 words and enunciated them particularly clearly. His voice was transmitted through the microphone to the digital music processing equipment at the speed of light along the cable. Then, with the help of the high-fidelity sound system arranged around the hall, it was clearly transmitted to the 5,000 guests and the tens of millions of people in front of their televisions and computers. Lu Chen. The best male singer of the first global Chinese top songs chart belonged to Lu Chen, a young singer who had debuted less than 2 years ago, and it also pushed him to the peak of the Chinese pop music world. It was a little incredible, but it was so reasonable. Looking back at the whole of 2016, there was really no more outstanding male singer than Lu Chen in the Chinese pop music world. The original works he created and sang had a deep impact on the whole music world. To a large extent, he reversed the original trend of a large number of domestic pop songs covering, plagiarizing, and imitating European, American, Japanese, and Korean works. From the second half of 2015 to the first half of 2016, Lu Chen's works frequently appeared on the original music chart. His second album, The Ordinary Road, created excellent sales results. The first of the 10 works in the album was a fine work, and he became popular all over the country. Lu Chen deserved to win the Best Male Singer of the Year. Even those who didn't like him couldn't deny the achievements and popularity he had gained in the past year, and his contribution to the pop music world couldn't be ignored. Congratulations, Lu Chen. As Lu Chen's biggest competitor, Yuming, who lost this important award, was the first to stand up and applaud, sending his sincere congratulations to the winner. Although he was very sorry, he was not very disappointed, nor was he dissatisfied at all. Even if he had lost to a very young junior, he would not be able to do so. Because Lu Chen's performance in 2016 was really too good, the voting result of the top songs chart's judges was fair. Congratulations. Chen Fei first gave Lu Chen a big hug, full of joy. Then the guests and the audience stood up one after another, and the messy applause soon became neat, like a summer storm sweeping through the main hall of the National Grand Theater. Congratulations. Tan Hong, Liao Jia, and others sitting next to Lu Chen hugged Lu Chen one by one, patting him on the back to encourage and support him. Thank you. Thank you. Lu Chen didn't know how many blessings and congratulations he received along the way. This was his peak moment. Chapter 525. Stepping on some erratic footsteps, Lu Chen once again boarded the awards stage of the global Chinese original songs chart. He respectfully received his second Golden Lark from Lu Ning, which was also the most important award, and bowed to express his gratitude to the senior musician. Then Lu Chen turned around, straightened his back, and raised the award in his hand high to everyone. The atmosphere in the main hall of the National Grand Theatre suddenly reached its climax. Because the 5,000 guests and audiences present were witnessing a period of history and a story in the Chinese pop music world. They were witnessing the journey of a young singer to the top. They were honored. This was a scene that was bound to be recorded in the history of Chinese pop music. As for the story, wouldn't it be the most interesting story for a couple to win the best male and female singers at the same time? There was no doubt that the news of Lu Chen and Chen Fei winning the best male and female singers on the Chinese original songs chart would inevitably make the headlines in the entertainment sections of major media tomorrow. Hooray! Equally excited was the Lu Chen anchor room of Whale TV. More than 3 million fans and audiences had gathered in this special network space, celebrating Lu Chen's victory in their own way. The best male singer, Chen, deserve it. Scattering flowers to celebrate, Chen, am mighty. Ha ha ha, sure enough, Lu Chen won the best male singer. The Golden Songs chart is fair. I guessed right. I, Chen, am the best male singer, and I, Fei, am the best female singer. The combination of the two is invincible. The people of Beijing send their congratulations. The people of Shanghai send their congratulations. Hangzhou, along with the congratulatory bullet screen, there were so many gifts that it was terrifying. The total number of fish balls received by the anchor room was skyrocketing at an alarming rate. It was estimated that after the live broadcast of the awards ceremony, Lu Chen could get at least 3 million plus gifts from Whale TV, making him a legend of this online live broadcasting platform. At the same time, Lu Chen's studio timely updated a new blog post, expressing sincere gratitude to all his fans who supported Lu Chen for winning the best male singer of the global Chinese original songs chart. And this blog post, in just a few minutes, had more than 500,000 views, and the number of forwards, comments, and replies was even more amazing. Lu Chen's fans left messages on the official V of the studio and Lu Chen's blog to express their congratulations, hoping that he could make persistent efforts to make another good achievement. The only regret was that Lu Chen could not appear on the network in person, and he had to deliver his acceptance speech on the spot. Thank you. Thank you to the organizing committee and judging panel of the Global Chinese Top Songs chart for giving me this honor. And thank you, Mr. Lu, for personally awarding me this award. Facing the audience that gradually quieted down, Lu Chen held the Golden Lark Award and said sincerely, "Before I came here, I told the media that I hoped to win the best male singer. In fact, I just took it as an encouragement for myself. It was my dream. Now, my dream has come true." His voice suddenly rose a notch, and he won warm applause from the audience again. When the applause stopped, Lu Chen continued, "There are many people I want to thank, my family, my friends, my teachers and seniors, and my girlfriend who is always by my side." He looked at Chen Fei, his eyes affectionate and gentle. Chen Fei, smiled and waved her hand, and the corners of her eyes were faintly glistening with tears. She was happy for Lu Chen and proud for Lu Chen. She remembered the scene when she first met Lu Chen, and the moment when she had feelings for Lu Chen for the first time. That moment of love made her grasp the happiness of a lifetime. In contrast, it was not important whether he could win the grand prize or not. The two looked at each other and had the same thought. It was just that the scene was not suitable for public displays of affection. Lu Chen retracted his gaze and continued, "For me, music is one of the most important parts of my life. It carries my happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy, as well as my dreams and wishes. Although Lu Chen had now focused his career on movies and had been busy with his first movie for months, he had not released a new album or single. However, in his heart, his career in pop music was still incomparably important and irreplaceable. The Dream in 2015 changed Lu Chen's life. It was music that led him to embark on a completely different life path. It was music that made him and Chin Fei connect, and it was music that gave him thousands of fans. Music had become an indispensable part of Lu Chen's life. He fell deeply in love with music. He liked to hold the guitar and sing by himself. He liked to stay in the recording studio and pursue perfect performance over and over again. He liked to sing loudly in front of thousands of fans. One day, when I am old and look back on this day, I think the glory that music has brought me at this moment will make me have no regrets, because I love music as my life. Lu Chen's voice echoed over the main hall, sonorous and powerful. Thank you for witnessing this moment together. Thank you, everyone. As the applause rang out, the audience and guests stood up again to pay their respects to Lu Chen. They congratulated Lu Chen and thanked him for his contribution to the Chinese pop music world. Lu Chen, who won the Best Male Singer, did not immediately leave the stage after delivering his acceptance speech. According to the arrangement of the organizing committee, he sang a song for the live audience. This song was chosen by Lu Chen himself early. At that time, he did not know if he would have a chance to sing it. This song was Chasing Dream with a Childlike Heart. Where is the world full of flowers? If it really exists, I will definitely go there. I want to stand on the highest mountain there. I don't care if it is a cliff or not. Live hard and love hard even if I have to sacrifice my life. I don't ask for anyone's satisfaction, as long as I am worthy of myself. I have never chosen to give up my ideals. Even in the dusty days. Run forward, facing the cold eyes and ridicule. How can you feel the vastness of life without going through hardships? Fate can't make us kneel down and beg for mercy. Even if our arms are full of blood. Keep running, with the pride of a childlike child. How can you see the shine of life if you don't persist to the end? Instead of lingering on, it's better to burn to your heart's content. One day it will sprout again. At this moment, only this song can sing the love and passion in Lu Chen's heart. From nothing to the top, he used less than 2 years to finish the journey that countless singers have never walked in their lives. Even with the memory wealth from another world, he also paid his own countless efforts, bitter persistence, and persistent pursuit for this. Lu Chen held the guitar and sang with his head held high. The whole world seemed to be cheering for him. On this stage where everyone was watching, his light was so dazzling. Chapter 526. Lu Chen opened his eyes in a daze, and his consciousness was not very clear. It was completely out of daily habit. Lu Chen reached into the quilt beside him, but he touched nothing. Ha! Lu Chen was a little puzzled. He turned over and stretched out his arm, accurately grabbing the phone on the bedside table. He turned on the screen, and the time displayed on it surprised him. It was already 10:03 in the morning. Lu Chen instinctively sat up on the bed, and the dull pain in his head made him groan in a low voice. Memories emerged in his mind like a tide, and Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. Last night, after the Global Chinese Top Songs Awards ceremony, he was dragged by Liao Jia and Tan Hong to a private club to celebrate, and then he was forced to drink a lot of alcohol. Lu Chen felt that he had never drunk so much alcohol in his life, so it was the first time he drank so much that he passed out. As for how he came back later, Lu Chen had almost forgotten it. It was also because his physical fitness was good enough, otherwise the hangover would not have been so easy. However, the habit of morning exercise was still broken, the biological clock could not withstand the power of alcohol. You're awake. At this time, Chen Fei, who was in pajamas, opened the bedroom door and walked in. She asked with concern, "Does your head hurt? I'll give you 2 aspirin, and you can sleep a little longer." Lu Chen took a long breath and smiled. "I'm fine, no need." Chen Fei sat on the edge of the bed and said coquettishly, "You still have the nerve to say that. You drank so much last night, and I couldn't even persuade you. They are really bad people, and Brother Tan didn't stop them." Lu Chen could only smile bitterly. Excessive smoking and drinking were very harmful to singers. Lu Chen did not smoke, and he rarely drank alcohol. At most, he would drink red wine or low-alcohol beer to protect his throat. But the situation last night was different. In addition to the 2 brothers, Liao Jia and Tan Hong, there were also Yu Ming, Lin Jijie and other big names in the circle. Who could not be disrespected? 1 glass for another, and 1 glass for another. Lu Chen had to drink all of them, no one missing. In Jianghu, there were many times when one had no choice. Chen Fei said a few words, and then said, "I prepared breakfast for you. It's in the kitchen." Lu Chen pulled her over and kissed her on the cheek. "Thank you, wife. Go, go, go." Chen Fei smiled and pushed him away. "Hurry up, you have an important interview this afternoon." In the afternoon, the interviewer was a reporter from the Central TV Variety channel. The work had already been arranged, so they couldn't miss the appointment. They had to wait at the studio on time. Lu Chen cheered up, immediately got up to put on his clothes, and ran to the bathroom to wash up. Lu Chen usually exercised a lot and was busy with work, so he had a good appetite. Although the hangover affected his appetite to some extent, he still cleaned up all of the breakfast. When he came out, Chen Fei, who had been sitting at the table with him, handed Lu Chen a napkin, and then asked with a smile, "Do you feel anything different at home?" After eating and drinking, Chen Fei, who had been sitting at the table with him, handed Lu Chen a napkin, and then asked with a smile, "Do you feel anything different at home?" Lu Chen took the napkin and wiped his mouth. He looked around in confusion and soon found the answer. His home was a little different. On the left side of the living room, there was a beautiful glass display cabinet, on which 5 golden awards were neatly placed. Lu Chen couldn't help but get up and walk over. He asked in surprise, "When did you buy it?" Chen Fei followed him closely, reached out and hugged his waist, and asked, "It was just delivered this morning. Do you like it?" Lu Chen nodded hard. These 5 Golden Lark Awards were what he and Chen Fei had won at the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony last night. They were Media Recommendation, Best Composition, Best Male Singer, Best Female Singer, and Best Album. Among them, Lu Chen was Best Composition and Best Male Singer, and the other 3 were won by Chen Fei. Among these 5 awards, the most interesting one was probably Best Album. As the last heavyweight award on the Golden Songs chart, Lu Chen's The Ordinary Road and Chen Fei's Woman Flower were both nominated, and they were both popular candidates. In the end, the couple's duel was won by the woman. After the winner was announced, Lu Chen even went on stage to sing a love song with Chen Fei, as the finale of the award ceremony. Later, when they were drinking, Lu Chen heard from Tan Hong that when the panel of judges chose the best album, the votes for these 2 albums were very close. Woman Flower narrowly beat The Ordinary Road by only 3 votes. Tan Hong was a member of the panel of judges for the Global Chinese Original Songs chart, so he knew the inside story. However, according to Liao Jia, no matter who won, the best album would be Lu Chen's album. Recalling the bits and pieces of last night, Lu Chen's lips couldn't help but curl up into a smile. Chen Fei put his delicate and round chin on his shoulder and said with a smile, "Now I have one more award than you. In the future, all the awards we won will be placed here. Let's see who has more." In the past, the 2 have also won awards, especially for Chen Fei, but the awards were placed in their respective studios, not in their own homes. The Golden Lark Award was undoubtedly the beginning. Lu Qin said with a smile, "I'm afraid this cabinet can't hold all of them, right?" For Lu Qin, the global Chinese original songs chart was the peak of his music career. In fact, it was also a new beginning. The road ahead for him was still very, very long, and there were infinite prospects. Although Chen Fei had been in the music industry for more than 10 years, she had just completed the transformation of her career and embarked on the road of all-round development in film, television, and song. In the future, she would definitely win many awards. Chen Fei said domineeringly, "Then we'll buy another cabinet, and we'll only put the most important ones. As for the other small awards, we'll throw them to the studio." Lu Chen chuckled, turned around and held her in his arms. He lowered his head and gave her a deep and long kiss. Chen Fei welcomed him warmly. After being kissed until her eyes were like silk and her eyes were full of spring water, she broke free from Lu Chen's arms and said, "I have an appointment to have lunch with Sister Lu Shi at noon. We're going to be late." Thinking of his sister's serious look, Lu Chen had to reluctantly let go of the beauty. Yesterday's glorious moment had passed, and life had to go on. In the foreseeable future, there would always be busy work. Lu Chen was ready to face new challenges. Chapter 527. Time flew by. Unknowingly, 2016 had passed, and 2017 had come quietly. On the first day of the new year, Lu Chen's first lunch was at Suji restaurant with his girlfriend and sister. There were many private restaurants in the capital that were not familiar to the public. They were often hidden in deep alleys and corners. Only real foodies knew the exact location, and they often needed to make a reservation to enjoy the delicious food. Suji restaurant, located on the edge of the Third Ring Road, was one of them. Its chef was a retired special chef of the state banquet. He enjoyed a high reputation in the industry, so this restaurant had become a frequent place for many celebrities in the capital. In a small private room, Lu Shi, who had just tasted a braised deer tendon in a clay pot, wiped her mouth with satisfaction. She elegantly picked up the teacup, cleared her mouth, and said casually, "When I go back this time, my mother asked me to ask you, when are you going to get married?" Last night, Lu Shi did not attend the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony. It was not that she did not want to come, but that she had something important to do in her hometown in Binhai, so she could not be there. Of course, she also visited her family. Her sister had not been home for a long time. Now Lu Chen's studio was supported by Lu Shi alone. Although Lu Chen had temporarily put the focus of his career in Hong Kong, it did not mean that he could relax in the capital. There were many things in all aspects. For example, at the end of the year, the accounts of the studio needed to be checked, and the amount of money involved was quite large. Lu Shi was completely tied to Lu Chen's side. Her sister was so busy that she did not even have time to fall in love. So when she saw Lu Chen and Chen Fei being intimate with each other, she was a little unhappy. Lu Chen was stunned and did not know how to answer. He had not thought about this problem until now. What Lu Shi rolled her eyes at him and said, "Are you going to keep dragging Fei, like this? Of course, you men are fine. The older you are, the more popular you are. We women do not have much youth to squander. Besides, Mom still wants to hold a grandson." Lu Chen's surprise turned into a bitter smile. Chen Fei blushed and said, "There's no rush. Let's talk about it in 2 years." In fact, she and Lu Chen had talked about marriage before. The two of them had unanimously decided to put it aside for the time being. It wasn't because of the influence of the fans, but mainly because the two of them were currently in the development stage of their careers, and it wasn't the right time to get married. As for having a child, Chen Fei's idea was to retire after having a child in the future. The heavenly queen was also immortal. Whether she had children or not was a completely different matter. Lu, she said, don't take care of him all the time. It's not a bad thing to get married early, but you have to make your own life decisions. I don't mean to force you. Lu Qin heaved a sigh of relief. I understand. Lu, she shook her head, exasperated. Up to you. After lunch, Lu Qin first sent Chen Fei back to Zikenjuan, and then drove his sister to the studio. In the office, Lu Shi took out a prepared financial statement and gave it to Lu Qin. The content of the statement was the basic income and expenditure of Lu Qin's studio in 2016. For Lu Qin's studio, which had been established for a short time, 2016 was undoubtedly a year of rapid development and harvest. In this year, the staff of the studio increased several times, and the office space was also moved to the art park where it was currently located, with more space for expansion. Although the increase of staff and the change of office space brought a lot of costs, and the construction of a high-grade recording studio also cost a huge amount of money, compared to the income, it was nothing at all. Autumn in My Heart and a Full House of Romance made Lu Qin's studio a dark horse in the film and television industry. The benefits brought by the super high ratings made the studio earn a lot of money. Just these two popular TV series alone, the studio's profit was steadily over 100 million, and it was a pure profit. In addition, in 2016, Lu Qin endorsed a total of 7 brand companies, with a total endorsement fee of more than 30 million. He sold nearly 30 original songs, and earned more than 20 million. Coupled with the sales profit of The Ordinary Road, the reward share of Whale TV, etc., Lu Qin has now firmly entered the ranks of hundreds of millions of stars, and his income can definitely be ranked in the top 3 in the circle. Such a money-making ability can be called terrifying. However, Lu Qin's money is not only made by himself. Those who cooperate with him have all made a lot of money, such as Beijing Television, Shandong Satellite TV, Haijin Satellite TV, Chinda Brothers, Crown Pictures, Flying Stone Records, etc., all of which have shared a delicious cake in cooperation. It was precisely because of this that many people came to the door to seek cooperation last year. In the circle, Lu Qin has become a popular cake sought after by many people. Fortunately, he went to Hong Kong, otherwise, it would be too late to entertain these visitors. A few days ago, there was a venture capital firm, Lu Shi said lightly. They want to inject capital into our studio, saying that they will help us go public in China. Listing. Then Lu Qin's studio must first upgrade to a company, recruit people to expand its base, and then open several more projects to increase its profit prospects. Coupled with huge follow-up investment and efforts, there is a possibility of success. Lu Qin's ambition is not that big for the time being, not reliable. His mind is very clear. At present, the development of the studio is fast enough. It should be appropriate to stabilize it. It is not advisable to blindly become bigger and stronger. It's not reliable, Lu Shi said with a smile. We have made enough money. It doesn't matter whether we go public or not. It's good as long as we don't make a wedding dress for others. I heard that Mukin crowdfunding is going to go public in Hong Kong. As the founder of the crowdfunding website, Lu Qin also owns 10% of the original shares in Mukin crowdfunding that cannot be diluted. Once Mukin crowdfunding is successfully listed in Hong Kong, his assets can at least multiply several times. Lu Qin nodded. Basically, there's no big problem. If everything goes well, Mukin crowdfunding should be able to go public in Hong Kong in May or June this year. It can be said that the current money for Lu Qin is just a few numbers. Recalling that 2 years ago, he worked hard in Beijing to repay the debt that his family seemed to never be able to pay off, he was really filled with emotion. Life is so wonderful, and fate is so incredible. Seeing that Lu Qin was lost in his memories, Lu Shi didn't say anything more. She quietly left the office so that Lu Qin could think quietly. In the afternoon, Lu Chen accepted an exclusive interview with CCTV Variety Channel in his office. At 7:00 in the evening, Lu Chen came to Hohai Forget Grass Bar, which he hadn't seen for a long time. Because here, there was a meet and greet with his fans. Chapter 528. The global Chinese original songs chart ends magnificently, and 24 golden larks are taken. The music genius Lu Chen wins the Best Male Singer and Best Composer, creating a new idol legend. The biggest winner of the Golden Songs chart, Chen Fei, wins the Best Female Singer, Best Album, and Media Recommendation. The Best Couple Glittering Golden Songs Award Ceremony in the Chinese Pop Music Circle. The stars shine, and the global Chinese original songs chart leads the new trend of the Chinese pop music circle. Sitting in the back seat of the business car, Lu Chen held a tablet computer and browsed through the entertainment section of today's major media websites. He got up too late in the morning, had lunch with his sister at noon, and had an interview with CCTV in the afternoon, so he finally had some time to browse the news of the online media. As expected, the news related to the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony occupied the entertainment headlines of the mainstream media. The awards, the details of the ceremony, the behind-the-scenes footage, and so on were all available. Coupled with the photos of the stars, it created a very lively atmosphere. In fact, this was very normal. The holding of the first Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony had a profound impact on China, Hong Kong, and the Chinese music circle all over the world. The highest level of specifications, CCTV's global satellite broadcast, and generous and attractive rewards were bound to bring new waves of Chinese pop music. In this music festival, Chen Fei, who won the Best Female Singer, Best Album, and Media Recommendation, was undoubtedly the biggest winner. She was very proud of her peers. Although Lu Chen only won 2 of the 6 nominations, the 2 heavyweight awards of Best Male Singer and Best Composer also pushed him to the peak of his music career. With the help of these 2 awards, Lu Chen could really be said to be among the top singers in the Chinese music circle. In the past, he only had the corresponding popularity and strength, but now he was certified. Not to mention that this honor is invisible and intangible, it represents real benefits. Not to mention the bonus of the Golden Lark Award, with the double awards of Best Male Singer and Best Composer in hand, the price of Lu Chen's commercial performance will be at least 50% higher. As for writing songs for others, the price of more than 1 million yuan will make people speechless. Because what he got was the highest achievement in the Chinese pop music world. There was no shortage of media outlets who sourly said that the Golden Melody Award ceremony last night had turned into a couple show between Lu Chen and Chen Fei. However, more media outlets praised the organizing committee and the panel of judges, because the awards were basically not too controversial, which was quite in line with the results of the previous online survey. For a music award like the Global Chinese Original Songs chart, it was very rare to be able to do this. In the past, there would always be some problems in the selection of music awards or movie awards. The popular ones would always die, and the unpopular ones would become the dark horses. Then, from time to time, there would be a few double yokes or multiple yokes. When it came to seniority, the audience's mockery and ridicule would fall on deaf ears and affect their credibility. However, the organizing committee and the panel of judges would still pretend to be deaf and mute. This had become a common problem in these awards. Under such circumstances, it was unrealistic for Lu Chen to win the Best Male Singer award, which represented the highest honor. The Global Chinese Original Songs chart had, at least, reversed this trend to a large extent. After reading the entertainment news, he looked at his blog. Lu Chen's personal blog and the official blog of his studio had been flooded with messages. People in the circle, whether he knew them or not, and countless fans had sent their congratulations. If Lu Chen wanted to reply to them one by one, it would probably take him several months. Your fans are almost catching up with me. Chen Fei was holding the same tablet and browsing the blog. She seemed to have discovered a new continent. I'm only short of 2 million. As the largest online interactive community in China and one of the top 3 in the world, almost all domestic stars and artists had their own verified accounts in Wave's blog, and the number of fans represented the popularity index to a large extent. At present, Chen Fei had more than 36 million fans, which had doubled from a year ago. This was mainly due to the 2 TV series she starred in, Autumn in My Heart and Full of Romance, which had attracted a large number of fans for her. On the other hand, Lu Chen had more than 34 million fans. Although he was short of 2 million fans from his girlfriend, it should be noted that his blog had been opened more than a year ago, and the speed of the increase was terrifying. Most importantly, the blog fans of the 2 were real, and they did not cheat by spending money to buy fans. The surge in the number of blog fans brought about amazing potential benefits. If a big V like Chen Fei advertised on the blog, the price would be at least a few million. Lu Chen said seriously, then you have to work hard. Don't let me catch up with you. Chen Fei rolled her eyes at him. Haven't you caught up with me yet? Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. He put down the tablet and held Chen Fei in his arms. Are you happy? Chen Fei pinched him, but she nodded. The atmosphere in the car was sweet and warm. After a while, Chen Fei straightened up again. She tidied up her messy black hair and asked, "Is the script for the TV series to be shot this year out?" According to the plan, after Lu Chen's first movie, A Chinese Ghost Story, was released, he would return to China to shoot the 3rd TV series, which was also the last finale of his urban romance trilogy. Of course, Chen Fei was still the heroine. Lu Chen looked at her in surprise and replied, "You haven't written it yet? What's wrong?" Chen Fei certainly wouldn't ask about this for no reason. Her Xingshi Long song line hasn't been finished yet. Chen Fei explained, "A lot of friends asked about it, and anyway, everyone is very concerned." It was more than concern. The 2 TV series, Autumn in My Heart and Full House of Romance, were very popular and created a ratings miracle in South Korea. Lu Chen left his golden rice bowl and went to Xiangjiang to shoot a movie. It really made many people who had tasted the sweetness or wanted a share of the cake feel like they had been ked. Lu Chen was far away in Xiangjiang and temporarily out of the domestic circle, so many people found Chen Fei, either directly or indirectly, to inquire about the news. There had been some rumors in the circle before, but after all, it was not as credible as Lu Chen's personal confirmation. If the news could be confirmed to be true, then it could be carried out in advance. Chen Fei couldn't help herself. Today, she had received so many phone calls that her hands were tired. All kinds of connections were beating around the bush in the name of congratulations, which made her feel very helpless. Lu Chen understood Chen Fei's difficulties. He thought for a moment and said, "I'm sure I can finish the script this month. As for the date of shooting, let's tentatively set it in March. The news could be released first, so that Chen Fei could explain to others. As for cooperation, that was another matter." Now, Lu Chen's studio was not short of partners. Chen Fei asked curiously, "Have you thought about the name of the new TV series?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "I've thought about it. It's called You from the Star." Chapter 529. Night shrouded the capital. The huge city with a population of more than 30 million showed a completely different appearance from the daytime. The long street was bustling with traffic, and the flowing light and shadow and the neon lights hanging on the buildings interweaved a fantastic and blurred world. The Mercedes-Benz business car that Lu Chen and Chen Fei were riding in was crowded in the traffic, slowly moving forward. It was the evening rush hour, and it was natural for the capital to become a congested city. Fortunately, it was not far from the destination, and they believed that they could arrive at Forget Grass Bar at the scheduled time. The fan appreciation party held at Forget Grass Bar tonight was already arranged. The fans who attended the party were all selected through a lottery. Only fans who bought the hardcover, limited edition and commemorative package of The Ordinary Road can participate in the lottery. Therefore, there were not many people, less than 200, so it was placed at Forget Grass Bar. Lu Qin hasn't been to Forget Grass Bar for some time. This bar, which was already famous in Hohai, hasn't changed much. The signboard is still the same signboard, the door is still the same door, and David, who is standing behind the bar, mixing drinks and flirting, is still the same David. However, the notice that no guests are accepted has long been hung out, and only those who have an invitation letter can enter. In addition to the lucky fans who were selected, there were also some friends and acquaintances of Lu Chen's circle who came to the bar tonight. Lin Jijie came. The music director of Flying Stone Records now has the title of Deputy General Manager. Now he is very proud of his success, and his relationship with Lu Chen is not the same as before. The 3 girls from MSN came. Mu Xiaochu is Lu Chen's sister. Today's day is so special that she would rather turn down all her work and come to support. The Bionics came, and Qin Hanyang can be regarded as an old friend of Lu Qin. Sisterly came, but the Little Tiger group didn't come, because the latter is participating in the evening program of Shanghai TV station and can't come. Then, Lu Qin met Qin Jinhao, Sister Na, and their son backstage. As the owner of Nepenthes Bar, the current Qin Jinhao could be considered as incompetent to the extreme. He handed the bar over to his friends to manage and hid at home to be a nanny. If tonight was a rare opportunity, he probably wouldn't have brought his wife and child here. Wow! Chen Fei was captivated by Qin Jinhao's son at first glance. He's so cute. Can I hug you? She looked at Sister Na expectantly. Sister Na smiled gently and handed the child in her arms to Qin Fei. Sister Na, who had given birth, had gained a lot of weight and whiter. Her whole body exuded a unique motherly radiance, which made her a bit more feminine charm. Compared to before, she was actually a lot more beautiful. Although she became famous with the song, I Want to Have a Home, written by Lu Qin, after becoming famous, Sister Na did not continue to follow the path she once yearned for. Instead, she stayed at home to support her husband and children. Basically, she retired from the music industry. Chen Fei carefully took it. The little guy, who was only a few months old, was not afraid of strangers at all. He opened his big eyes and giggled, and then stretched out his chubby hand to greet Chen Fei, making Chen Fei smile. What's his name? Sister Na proudly replied, Chen Kongping, Healthy Kong, Safe Ping. He didn't ask for great wealth, only health and peace. Chen Jinhao's son was born in September last year. He was born with a weight of 8 pounds, a real fat son. Lu Chen wasn't in Beijing at the full moon, so he asked his sister to send a congratulatory gift. Speaking of which, this was the second time Lu Chen saw Chen Jinhao's son, and Chen Fei was the first time. Chen Fei liked the little guy very much. Chen Jinhao, who has become a father, has lost a lot of his character. Even the lines on his face have softened a lot. He said very seriously, if you like, you can also have one. Lu Chen smiled and said, we are not in a hurry. Let's start as godparents first. Sister Na immediately agreed, okay, then let's set a date for the banquet. When she was pregnant, Lu Chen jokingly said that he wanted to be the child's godfather. Now it was like bringing up the past again. Sister Na was very happy. She has no intention of entering the entertainment industry again. In the future, she will basically stay at home to take care of the child or help Chen Jinhao manage the bar, but maybe their son will walk on this road in the future. Then, with Lu Chen and Chen Fei as godparents, Chen Kongping, who is still in swaddling clothes, has a starting point far beyond his peers, and the same road will inevitably be much smoother. Even if he doesn't enter the entertainment industry, there are still many advantages and no disadvantages. Chen Jinhao said with a wry smile, "Why are you in such a hurry? Let's not talk about this first. It's about to start." Sister Na stared at her husband angrily. Chen Jinhao had to raise his hand and surrender. Okay, then set a date. Chen Feier smiled and teased Chen Kongping with her fingers. Call her godmother, call her godmother. Oh. She suddenly let out a cry of surprise. Everyone was taken aback. What's wrong? Chen Feier was at a loss and said with a red face, he seems to have peed, and it's oozing out. Everyone was suddenly happy. Sister Na smiled and took the child back to change the diaper. Chen Feier found an opportunity to secretly say to Lu Qin, let's have another child in a few years. Lu Qin was dumbfounded. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Lu Chen's fan appreciation party officially began in Forget Grass Bar. All of the 188 fans who won the lucky prize were present. It is said that after the results of the lottery were announced by Lu Chen Studios' official V, some fans in the QQ group offered a high price of 1 or 2,000 yuan to buy the invitation, but most of the lucky ones did not sell it, and some even came all the way to Beijing to participate in this fan meeting. As for the other thousands of fans who did not win the lottery, they don't have to be too disappointed, because the fan appreciation party will be broadcast live on Lu Chen's anchor room in Whale TV. Whale TV also specially made a large advertisement on the homepage and opened a special column. It is estimated that the number of online anchors in the evening is likely to reach a new high. The bar was already full of seats. When Lu Chen appeared on the stage with the Nirvana band, there was a warm applause and cheers from the audience. Many fans raised their support fluorescent signs and shouted the name of Lu Chen, making the atmosphere of this small scene very hot. Lu Chen is dressed very casually today, a pair of jeans and a long-sleeved cotton shirt. The appearance of him holding a guitar seems to be no different from when he sang for the bar guests here, making Chen Jinhao, Sister Na, and Qin Hanyang, who are familiar with him, vaguely have a feeling of going back in time. The same young, the same handsome, the same friendly boy next door. Only now, Lu Chen has the kind of self-confidence and free and easy temperament that only belongs to a real big star. This is a transformation. Chapter 530. Good evening, everyone. Lu Chen smiled and waved to the fans at the scene, as if he was greeting a friend. Many celebrity artists like to hold fan appreciation parties in bars or small venues because the distance between the two parties was very close. It invisibly eliminated the estrangement between each other, allowing these lucky fans to truly feel the charm of their idols. Good evening. The response of the fans was very enthusiastic. The atmosphere created by less than 200 fans made people feel as if they were at a concert, noisy, enthusiastic, and hot. Lu Chen adjusted the position of the microphone, then said with a smile, "Thank you for coming to this fan appreciation party. You are all my best fans and best friends. I heard that some friends flew over from Qionghai and Shijiang. It's really hard and not easy. So the first song tonight is dedicated to the fans and friends from afar. A song, The Ordinary Road, for everyone." Applause rang out, and pieces of support fluorescent signs were waved, reflecting the lights on the stage. Lu Chen held the guitar, he took a deep breath, and his expression became serious and solemn. His eyes looked forward, as if he was looking at the future through the void. Wandering, on the road, do you want to go, via via? Fragile, proud, that was once my appearance. Boiling, restless, where are you going, via via? Enigmatic, silent, story, are you really listening? I once crossed mountains and seas, and passed through a sea of people. Everything I once had, was scattered like smoke in the blink of an eye. I once lost, disappointed, and lost all direction, until I saw that ordinary is the only answer. As the title song of Lu Chen's second album, The Ordinary Road has long been a work that fans are familiar with. It is also one of Lu Chen's representative works. Hearing such a familiar melody, such a familiar voice, the fans at the scene quickly quieted down. They listened attentively and enjoyed the unique charm of the live show. At this moment, for those fans sitting in front of the computer or holding the tablet phone to watch the live broadcast of Whale TV, the feeling is very different. Especially those loyal fans who had been following Lu Chen and had witnessed his growth, they were all inexplicably touched. Time flew by. The past could not be repeated, but bits and pieces of memories remained in his heart. These beautiful, warm, and touching memories were reawakened by the song, The Ordinary Road. Tomorrow is already in Hia. The road where the wind blows is still far away. Where did your story end? After the song ended, the atmosphere in the venue froze for 3 seconds, and then there was an explosion of applause. Someone even whistled loudly. Thank you everyone. Lu Chen looked around with a smile on his face and bowed to express his gratitude. The applause became even more enthusiastic, and the sound of cheers and applause rose and fell one after another. The sound waves were about to overturn the roof of the bar. After a few minutes, the atmosphere at the scene finally returned to normal. Lu Chen said, "As you all know, last night I was lucky to win the Best Composition and Best Male Singer awards in the Global Chinese Original Songs chart. Although these 2 awards were chosen by the panel of judges, I think that without everyone's support and love, I definitely wouldn't have been able to win these 2 awards. Of course, I also wanted to make tonight's thank you party legitimate. Otherwise, if I didn't win, I could only change it to a fan meeting so that I could vent my bitterness." There was a burst of laughter in the bar, and then there was applause. Lu Chen continued, "The past year has been like a dream for me." He spoke softly and said some of his feelings and thoughts. He was not pretentious or pretentious. It was as if he was chatting with a friend, letting his fans see a more real side of him. Peeling off the halo of a star idol, Lu Chen was not much different from an ordinary big boy next door. He was kind, easygoing, and never treated his fans high and mighty. After chatting for a few minutes, Lu Chen said, "Thank you for listening to me patiently. There must be some friends who are scolding me for not singing yet. I want to listen to songs." Everyone immediately burst into laughter. In the anchor room of Whale TV, there were a lot of fans who sent barrage messages to listen to songs. Then these impatient guys were scolded by the big guys. Lu Chen expressed his understanding, "Then I will sing a song. Sing a relaxing song. What do you think of singing a new song?" A new song. The fans were overjoyed and shouted in unison, "Good." Their voices were so neat and loud. Being a fan of Lu Chen is actually a very happy thing. Why do you say that? Because Lu Chen can always come up with one or several new songs from time to time, and these songs are all excellent and pleasant to listen to, which surprises his fans constantly. In the 2 albums, You Who Sat Next to Me and The Ordinary Road, the 20 songs were all Lu Chen's own originals. In the atmosphere of plagiarism and imitation in the pop music world, he was like a vast clear stream blowing away the filth, letting everyone see the hope and future of Chinese pop music. As a fan of Lu Chen, how can they not be happy? The Golden Melody Chart judges awarded the 2 awards of Best Composition and Best Male Singer to Lu Chen instead of his more experienced and more famous competitors, which is also an affirmation and praise of Lu Chen's contribution. Since the album The Ordinary Road, Lu Chen has not released a new work for a long time. Although his singing of The Love of My Life in Hong Kong caused a great response, it was a Cantonese song after all. Now hearing that Lu Chen is going to sing a new song, whether it is the fans at the scene or in the anchor room, they are naturally very surprised. Lu Chen deliberately sold a little suspense. "This song needs 2 people to sing, so I have to invite a friend to come on stage, so who is willing? Those who are willing, please raise your hand." Ah! Many fans were a little dumbfounded. Since it is a new song, how can others sing it? But even more fans raised their hands regardless, shouting, me, me. Lu Chen smiled and pointed to the right side of the stage and said, then this friend, the girl in the white dress, is you. Everyone's eyes looked over at the same time and they were suddenly happy. The girl pointed by Lu Chen was very beautiful and cute, and everyone was familiar with her. She is a member of MSN, Lu Chen's sister in everyone's eyes, and the best sister in the hearts of all fans. Mu Xiaochu. Chapter 531. With a shy smile, Mu Xiaochu stood up from her seat and waved to everyone. Although she didn't put on heavy makeup tonight, she was wearing a beautiful white princess dress and a professional stylist. A beautiful and lovely girl with a beautiful and lovely temperament was presented in front of everyone. Little sister Xiaochu. The fans really liked her. Everyone was laughing and shouting her name. Just now, Lu Chen had obviously played a little joke on them. This was undoubtedly a prearranged program, but it still gave the fans at the scene and in the live broadcast room a big surprise. Perhaps many of the fans who liked Lu Chen didn't like Chen Fei, his real girlfriend. As for the reason, everyone understood, but there were not many people who didn't like Mu Xiaochu. The brother-sister friendship between Lu Chen and Mu Xiaochu was really an anomaly in the entertainment circle, which was like a big dye vat. Some jealous people said that Mu Xiaochu relied on Lu Chen to get to the top, but the eyes of the fans were sharp. Mu Xiaochu was very talented, and she was very hardworking. The most important thing was that she was cheerful and kind. She usually posted on her blog and never got involved in the right and wrong of the circle. She gave people the impression that she was simple and kind. Such a beautiful, lovely and simple girl would naturally be protected by the fans. Occasionally, anti-fans appeared, but they were often criticized by the majority of the fans. In the cheers, Mu Xiaochu walked on the stage, took the microphone, and stood side by side with Lu Chen. Her face had a faint blush, showing a bit of joy and shyness. Lu Chen said, "This song will be sung by little sister Xiaochu and me." Everyone applauded. Needless to say, everyone clapped their hands hard, rendering the atmosphere lively. The prelude of the music sounded. Mu Xiaochu was holding the microphone. She turned her head to look at Lu Chen and sang, "I've heard your song, my big brother. I understand your heart, your joy, anger, sorrow, and joy." Lu Chen looked at her and smiled gently. "Can I ask your name?" "Because you are my soulmate, I have another friend." Mu Xiaochu avoided his gaze. "I don't care if you remember my name. I just want to hear your new song and your voice." "Lu Chen, I sincerely thank you for your love and your sincerity. I will send this moment to you with music. May your voice always accompany me. I will do my best to accompany you with the most beautiful melody." The two sang in harmony. Although they didn't practice for a long time and were a little unfamiliar at first, they soon became very tacit and sang the true charm of "I've heard your song." Mu Xiaochu's voice was sweet and melodious, and Lu Chen's was clear and calm. But what really touched people's hearts in this song was not the singer's voice and melody, but the lyrics. On this stage, Mu Xiaochu was not a member of MSN, a well-known girl group. She was a fan of Lu Chen, a fan who deeply loved him. She used her voice to express her admiration. The duet between the two was the interaction between a big brother star and a little sister fan. It was so warm and sweet that it made people feel that it was a wonderful thing to have such feelings in this world. The sincerity was integrated into the song and melody, and the charm of the music was like the fragrance of osmanthus flowers drifting quietly. "Oh, my favorite little sister Xiaochu. Get out of here, little sister Xiaochu is mine, and can only be mine. Everyone, draw your sword, let's fight to the death, for little sister Xiaochu. He, you bunch of weak chickens, little sister Xiaochu will not like you, only a hot-blooded man like me, alas, in fact, I very much hope to see little sister Xiao Chu and my Chin together. What do you think? Yes, yes, the two are very compatible. Yu Fei is also not bad, I might as well marry both of them. Ha, I like having a harem the most. Single female lead, it must be a single female lead, all the harem should die, not a single female lead will be removed from the stage. Support. In the Whale TV anchor room, many fans were making a lot of noise, but their attention was not on the song. But after all, those who liked to quarrel were in the minority. Most of the fans were listening carefully, and then expressed their love with the fish balls in their hands. The lyrics of this song, I've Heard Your Song, were very simple and straightforward, without deep connotation, and the melody was also inclined to the general flow, but under the joint interpretation of Lu Qin and Mu Xiaochu, it gave people full of warmth and emotion. I've heard your song, my big brother, I wish you all the best and happy every day. I sincerely thank you for your love and your true feelings, I will give you this moment with music. After singing, Lu Qin turned around and opened his arms to Mu Xiaochu with a smile. Thank you. Mu Xiaochu pursed his lips, shyly hugged Lu Qin, and then bowed to thank the fans. Ah! Everyone applauded desperately, and someone shouted, sing one more song. Although it was Lu Chen's fan appreciation party in the evening, at this moment on this stage, Mu Xiaochu's popularity was no less than that of Lu Qin. Chen Fei, who was sitting in the VIP seat, was also applauding. Chen Fei knew Mu Xiaochu and Lu Qin for exactly the same time. Her relationship with Mu Xiaochu was also very good, so she actually understood the feelings that Mu Xiaochu had for Lu Qin. Not only was it the friendship between brother and sister, but the hazy love was a girl's longing, but Mu Xiaochu knew how to restrain herself. She was not like many girls who dared to love and hate, and dared to pour out her heart bluntly. Instead, she hid this love deep in her heart and had no intention of intervening in the relationship between Lu Qin and Chen Fei. To be honest, it was impossible for Chen Fei to say that she did not have a little bit of jealousy. Women in love were always selfish. They hoped that their lover would always belong to them and could not tolerate any covetousness from others. But for the simple and kind Mu Xiaochu, Chen Fei really did not have any jealousy. The most important thing was that she knew that Lu Qin only had feelings for Mu Xiaochu as a brother and sister. Maybe time would dilute everything. She believed that when Mu Xiaochu grew up and matured, she would naturally find true love. Chen Fei thought to herself and sent Mu Xiaochu off the stage with applause. Of course, Lu Qin was still on the stage. Tonight, he was the protagonist. After singing I've Heard Your Song with Mu Xiaochu, he continued to sing The Brightest Star in the Night Sky, You Who Sat Next to Me, Jiangnan, and other well-known works. During this period, as special guests, the Bionics and MSN went on stage respectively and sang their own famous works, which made the fans present satisfied and pushed the atmosphere of the scene to a climax. Note, I've Heard Your Song lyricist/composer, Wang Yan. Chapter 532. The passage of time was always so fast. Unknowingly, it was already past 9:00 in the evening. The Lu Chen's fan appreciation party held in Forget Grass Bar was coming to an end, but the atmosphere inside was getting hotter and hotter. From time to time, loud applause, laughter, and cheers penetrated the thick walls and glass windows and spread to the pedestrian street outside. The pedestrians and tourists who came and went were attracted by the attention, and some tried to enter the bar to watch the fun, but they were blocked by the "Reject" sign erected at the door and the security guards. On the stage, Lu Qin had just finished drinking a bottle of mineral water. Fine sweat appeared on his forehead, glittering under the light. Although interacting with fans and singing until now was really a little tired, his mood was still excited. Applause sounded again. Lu Qin grabbed the microphone with one hand, took a few deep breaths, and said, "Next, I would like to invite another guest to the stage, a very special guest. She is the most important and one of the most precious people in my life, please, Chen Fei, Without waiting for Lu Chen to say the other party's name, the fans at the scene shouted out in unison. Lu Chen was shocked, "So you all know?" Everyone cast a contemptuous look at Lu Chen, who deliberately pretended to be ignorant. Chen Fei had been sitting there all the time. Lu Chen surrendered. "Well, I was wrong, so now let's invite Miss Chen Fei, Yeah. The cheers were so loud. The fans who were lucky enough to attend the fan appreciation party tonight were really happy. Not only could they communicate and interact with Lu Chen closely, but they could also enjoy the live singing of Lu Chen, the Bionics, and MSN at the same time. Now, it was Chen Fei, As the guests of the fan appreciation party, the Bionics and MSN undoubtedly had enough weight. Any one of them could be a surprise, but compared to Chen Fei, they were much worse. The meaning was different. Chen Fei was not only Lu Chen's girlfriend, but also the queen of pop music. More importantly, she won the title of Best Female Singer at the Golden Melody Awards ceremony last night. Lu Chen was the best male singer, and she was the best female singer. Together, they were invincible. Amidst the cheers, Chen Fei gracefully walked onto the stage. She smiled and said, "Thank you, everyone. I wonder if there are any of you here who are my fans." As soon as he finished speaking, arms were raised high into the air. "So many," Chen Fei smiled and said, "Is it really okay for you to do this? You are making Mr. Lu Chen lose face." Lu Chen made a helpless expression, and everyone burst into laughter. Chen Fei smiled and said, "Stop joking. The next song is also a new work by Mr. Lu Chen. You are the most precious, I hope everyone likes it." After that, Chen Fei turned to look at Lu Chen. Lu Chen nodded and reached out to her. Chen Fei took Lu Chen's hand, and the music accompaniment sounded at the same time. The two looked at each other and their hearts were connected. This silent, warm, tacit understanding quickly infected all the fans in the bar, and the scene instantly became very quiet. Lu Chen, next year at this time, at this place. Chen Fei, remember to bring roses, Tai, and Miss. Lu Chen, love is the most beautiful moment, and it is not tiring to give it to someone sincerely. Chen Fei, too much love will make you drunk. No matter how beautiful a person is, she will become haggard if no one loves her. Lu Chen, I will give you red roses. Chen Fei, you know I love to cry. Lu Chen, don't treat me with a lifetime of tears. The future will be beautiful with you, and the dream will be more real. Chen Fei, the future will be beautiful with you, and the dream will be more real. I will learn to be intoxicated in your love. Lu Chen, I will not retreat. You will protect me through the night. The two joined hands. I am willing to stay with you on this road of love. You are the most precious. In the past Chinese music world in 2016, Lu Chen and Chen Fei were recognized as the best singer couple. However, although both of them have released a hit album, there are only a handful of works sung by a man and a woman. Tian, the most famous one, was undoubtedly the theme song of Autumn in My Heart, Your Eyes. This song became popular because of Autumn in My Heart, and in turn, more people got to know Lu Chen and Chen Fei. At that time, it became a love song for couples in KTV, and it even spread to Japan, Korea, and Southeast Asia, and was covered by many foreign singers. But Your Eyes was written at the end of 2015, and it has been more than a year since then. After more than a year, the relationship between Lu Chen and Chen Fei became more stable, and the fans also hoped that the two could release more duet works. At this moment, these fans were satisfied. The highest realm of love is to withstand ordinary time. Sometimes happiness is like the sand in the palm of the hand, the tighter you hold it, the faster you lose it. Sometimes happiness is more like the flowers on the other side of the river, faintly visible, but untouchable. The love between Lu Qin and Qin Fei was born because of fate. It was not a vigorous and passionate love, but it could withstand the erosion of time, like old wine, becoming more and more fragrant with the passage of time. Because in each other's hearts, they were the most precious existence. Who ignited the heart of waiting in the dark night, who waited for the persistence of love and loneliness, and who let the yearning radiate the light of love in the morning and dusk. This song, You're the Most Precious, was written by Lu Qin for Qin Fei, and it sang his unwavering faith and love. Only in this way could it be the most touching. In the Forget Grass bar, it was very quiet, and only the two's voices were intertwined and lingering in everyone's ears, touching the heartstrings, and feeling the sweetness and beauty of love. The same melody, the same lyrics, repeated over and over again, the suppressed feelings gradually accumulated until the climax came, like the waves of the sea hitting the dam of the heart, making a loud sound. I am willing to stay with you on this road of love, you're the most precious. When Qin Fei and Lu Qin finished singing the last sentence, both of them saw the unchanging tenderness and firmness in each other's eyes, and their feelings were sublimated to a higher level at this moment. And this unspeakable tacit understanding deeply infected everyone present, including the fans, the guests, and friends. The bar was so quiet that even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard, and even the breathing had stopped. It was Lu Qin who broke the silence, holding Qin Fei's hand tightly and said, You're the most precious. Thank you, everyone. The next moment, the applause broke out fiercely, pushing the atmosphere of the fan appreciation party to the climax in an instant. There were no cheers, no whistles, only the purest applause. In the corner, Mu Xiaochu secretly wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes, smiled and applauded. Note, You're the Most Precious, lyricist, Lin Mingyang / composer, Ling Weiwen. Chapter 533. The song, You're the Most Precious, touched the whole audience, and also touched the thousands of fans in the live broadcast room. What the hell, it's another inhumane single abuse. I feel like I've been hit by 10,000 points of critical damage again. Single dogs have no human rights. My Chen is so romantic. If anyone writes a love song for me like this, I will definitely marry him. I silently took a bite of the steamed bun. I'd better go back to Bachelor Star. The earth is too dangerous. It's easy to show love. It's good. Sing another song. The fans' demand was so strong, so after singing, You're the Most Precious, Qin Fei and Lu Qin sang, Your Eyes, which everyone was familiar with. TN, Your Eyes. On the first day of 2017, the Lu Qin's fan appreciation party held at Forget Grass Bar in Beijing Hohai basically came to an end. Although the fans wanted to say more, but the good times were always too fast. Life is like a journey. Lu Qin picked up the guitar again, stood in front of the microphone and said, You never know what kind of scenery there will be along the way, whether you will encounter wind and rain or sunshine, but because you are accompanying me, I will never feel afraid, really. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank all my friends who support me. The last song, Journey, is for everyone. It was the last song, and everyone couldn't help but be disappointed. However, Lu Qin gave everyone another surprise at the end. Because this song was also a new song, the third original work tonight. Gusts of evening wind blow the pine trees, blowing the wind chimes is like the sound of nature. Standing in the silence of the city, let all the noise go away. Only the green mountains hide among the white clouds, butterflies freely pass through the clear stream, watching the sunset bloom on the horizon, a flock of birds returning to the west. With a simple and pure guitar accompaniment, coupled with Lu Qin's wholehearted interpretation, this song, Journey, instantly brought the fans at the scene into a wild world with clear clouds and beautiful mountains. His voice was warm and bright, lingering in everyone's ears, as if it had the power to penetrate the soul. It made people yearn for it. Who painted this world, drew me and you, let our world be colorful. Who made us cry, another surprise for us. Let us love each other like this. We always have to say goodbye, gathering and parting always on the long road. The lyrics, melody, and artistic conception of this song, Journey, were highly harmonious and unified. It had a deep feeling of entering the world, as well as the freedom of being born into the world. It showed the composer's extraordinary musical thoughts and emotions. The pine trees, wind chimes, butterflies, and sunset glow in the lyrics were like colorful flowers that could be picked up at will, exuding a poetic fragrance. Listening to such a song was definitely enjoyable, and the fans were already enjoying it. The surging emotions in their hearts were quietly soothed, and they no longer had any regrets. Many of the fans who attended the thank you ceremony would return home after tonight. It was believed that with this song accompanying them on their journeys, they would not be lonely, nor would they be reluctant to part. Goodbye. At the entrance of Forget Grass Bar, Lu Chen personally sent off the last few fans. Since they were all girls, he specifically reminded them, rest early, be careful, and have a safe trip. One of the female fans took a few steps before reluctantly turning her head back. Suddenly, she turned around and threw herself at Lu Chen. Lu Chen reacted quickly and quickly held her up. Be careful. The other party was obviously too reluctant to leave. Tears were flowing down her face as she grabbed onto Lu Chen's arm and refused to let go. Fortunately, her companion was very sensible and coaxed her to take her away, saving Lu Chen a lot of trouble. Lin Jijie, who came out together with them, said teasingly, Lu Chen, your charm is getting bigger and bigger. Even I am worried for Fei, who attracts so many bees and butterflies like you. Needless to say, the female fan who was pestering Lu Chen just now was really pretty. Fei was Chen Fei, Er's English name. She was right behind Lin Jijie, pursing her lips and smiling. Lu Chen smiled bitterly. Brother Jijie, please be merciful with your words. As his fame grew and his popularity grew, it was inevitable that more fans would bring some trouble. There were always a few extreme fans among all kinds of fans. Lu Chen's studio and Lu Shi have received harassing phone calls from some crazy fans, as well as parcel mails and so on, but they were all handled in a low-key manner. Like this female fan just now, she was already very gentle, at least she didn't do anything too outrageous. Lin Jijie was also joking. He took the opportunity to say, you can be merciful, but write 3 more songs for our Flying Stone. As the music director and deputy general manager of Flying Stone Records, Lin Jijie also had a lot of complaints about Lu Chen's wanton squandering of talent. The most direct example was Lu Chen's 2 albums, You Who Sat Next to Me and The Ordinary Road. Each of the 20 songs was a masterpiece. If he was allowed to operate, these works were enough to make 4 or 5 singers popular, or produce 4 or more hit albums. It was too extravagant. But what made people speechless was that Lu Chen's musical creative inspiration seemed to be inexhaustible. At a small fan appreciation meeting tonight, he came up with 3 excellent works. If Lin Jijie was indifferent, it would be strange. In fact, since Lu Chen started to make TV plays and movies, even Flying Stone Records, which has a good relationship with Lu Chen's studio, was not easy to invite songs from him. Lin Jijie originally thought that Lu Chen's creation had reached a bottleneck, and he was busy with filming, so it was normal. Only now did he find out that it was not the case at all. Lu Chen said with a smile, 3 songs are too many. Give I've Heard Your Song to Little Chu. Of the 3 songs he took out in the evening, 1 was for Mu Xiaochu and 1 was for Chen Fei. The last one was, of course, reserved for himself. How could Lin Jijie agree? He forced Lu Chen to promise to give him another song before he left contentedly. When Lu Qin and Qin Fei returned home, it was already midnight when the two took a shower and went to bed. Perhaps she was moved, perhaps she had feelings, or perhaps because she was facing parting again. Although she was quite tired, Qin Fei warmly and actively made love to Lu Qin. She wanted Lu Qin again and again, until she was exhausted and fell asleep. Lu Qin couldn't fall asleep. He quietly covered Qin Fei with the quilt, bowed his head and kissed her on the forehead, and then turned off the bedside lamp. After that, Lu Qin went to the study alone and turned on the computer. He pulled up the document stored on the hard disk, and typed out rows of unfinished words with his fingers. The road of life is long. In 2017, a new journey has just begun. Note, lyrics/composer of a journey, Su Wei. Chapter 534. As soon as New Year's Day 2017 passed, Lu Qin flew back to Hong Kong. The post-production special effects of A Chinese Ghost Story were in the midst of working overtime. The post-production also involved editing, dubbing, and music. As a key figure, he could not leave for too long. Otherwise, it would affect the release plan. Therefore, as soon as he returned to Hong Kong, Lu Qin did not rush back to his studio. Instead, he went to Starlight Painting. The special effects of A Chinese Ghost Story were outsourced to Starlight Painting of Hong Kong. Starlight Painting was not the largest film and television special effects production company in the Hong Kong industry, but it was strong and experienced. It had participated in the special effects production of many domestic dramas and had a good reputation in the circle. As a fantasy romance film born out of strange tales from a Chinese studio, A Chinese Ghost Story did not involve many special effects scenes, but the post-production special effects were really worth every penny. Therefore, in this regard, Lu Qin was not careless at all and directly set a budget of tens of millions. Many domestic movies or TV series, including those in Hong Kong, were often reluctant to invest in this aspect. On the one hand, they shouted that they wanted to connect with Hollywood, and on the other hand, they made do with the audience. The resulting 50-cent special effects made people not know whether to laugh or cry. In the end, the loss outweighed the gain. Lu Qin would not make such a stupid mistake. The level of Starlight Painting was quite good. Lu Qin was also very satisfied with a few scenes done in advance. Director Wan, thank you for your hard work. Ever since A Chinese Ghost Story was completed, Wan Shaoquan, the real behind-the-scenes director, did not have time to rest. Even on New Year's Day, he stayed in Hong Kong to supervise the post-production of the movie. Without his hard work, Lu Qin would not have been so relaxed. It would have been a problem if A Chinese Ghost Story could have been made. Therefore, Lu Qin, who flew back from the capital, was a little embarrassed to see Wan Shaoquan again in Starlight Painting. In terms of wholehearted love for movies, he was not as good as Wan Shaoquan. However, after putting in so much effort, Wan Shaoquan could not hang his name in the subtitles of A Chinese Ghost Story. However, Wan Shaoquan was willing to endure it. He smiled and said, "It's not hard. This movie has the potential to be a hit. It's worth it no matter how hard it is," but, he hesitated for a moment and said, "According to the current production progress, I'm afraid we might not be able to make it in time for the Spring Festival." January 27th was New Year's Eve, and there was only a little more than a month until the Lantern Festival. With the request made by Lu Qin, even if Starlight did its best, it might not be able to meet the requirements for A Chinese Ghost Story to be released in the Spring Festival slot. Because even if the special effects were completed, the dubbing, music, and editing were all done, they still had to submit it for approval, screening, publicity, and so on. Time was really too tight. Unless the post-production requirements were lowered. It's fine even if we can't make it in time for the Spring Festival slot. In this regard, Lu Qin resolutely said, "First of all, you have to ensure the quality. I only want the best. The domestic film market was hot, and the Spring Festival period was the period of the box office explosion. Originally, Liu Qin had planned to use Xiangjiang's new film support policy to benefit from the Spring Festival period. But he would never lower his expectations for the quality of the film because of this. In Liu Chen's dream world, the original version of A Chinese Ghost Story was undoubtedly a real classic. Now that he had moved this movie into reality, he could only do it better with all his heart so that he would not ruin the classic. Liu Chen would not forgive himself if he worked so hard at the beginning but did it carelessly in order to meet the schedule. His attitude made Wan Shaoquan very pleased. Wan Shaoquan had been in the industry for so many years and had made many movies. He had also encountered investors and producers who were eager for quick success and profits. In order to rush back the funds, they made all kinds of unreasonable requests. In Wan Shaoquan's opinion, there were many bad movies in China, and these people had to bear a lot of responsibility. He had once worried that Liu Qin was young and impetuous, or that he was anxious to make money and would not pay attention to the post-production. Now it seemed that Wan Shaoquan's worries were unnecessary. Only then would his work be valuable. Then there's no problem. After staying at Starlight Studio for the whole afternoon, it was not until evening that Liu Qin returned to the studio. It was past the time to get off work, and there was basically no one in the office, but the light in the secretary's office was still on. Li Zhen was sitting in front of the computer, busy working, and did not even notice the appearance of Liu Qin. Seeing this scene, Liu Qin, who had just come in, could not help but ask, "Zhen, you haven't gone back yet?" "Ah." Li Zhen was shocked. Seeing that it was Liu Qin, she breathed a big sigh of relief. She quickly got up and said, "Young Master Liu, you're back. I'm about to get off work." She knew that Liu Qin returned to Hong Kong today, and she also knew that Liu Qin went to Starlight Studio to supervise the work. She did not expect that he would come to the studio so late. "What can I do for you? Do you need my help?" Liu Qin said with a smile, "No, I'm here to get something and leave. I can send you back." "Thank you, young Master Liu." Li Zhen hurriedly tidied up the scattered documents on the table, as well as the invitations and business cards, and said, "I also have work to report to you." Liu Qin nodded and said, "Then let's talk in the car." Since the last time he defeated Hong Hua and defeated the local tyrant with a strong background, Liu Qin Film and Television Studio was really famous in the circle of Hong Kong, and more people knew about it. Liu Gongxing's appreciation of Liu Qin made his reputation even higher. After that, people came to the studio to seek cooperation in various ways, and people invited Liu Qin to dinner or to participate in programs. He had only left Hong Kong for a few days, but Li Zhen had a thick stack of invitations. Sitting in Liu Chen's car, she reported to Liu Qin as if she was familiar with her family's treasures. "Hong Kong Star Entertainment invites you to attend their company reception tomorrow night. This is the business card of the chairman of Baolu Group. He wants to ask you to meet, and this one was sent by Miss Xu Jing herself. She hopes you can attend the release conference of her new album. In addition, wait." Liu Qin suddenly interrupted her. "You mean Miss Xu Jing?" Yes." Li Zhen was stupefied, and immediately reacted. She took out the invitation letter and handed it to Liu Qin. Liu Qin took it and looked at it carefully. Xu Jing's album release conference was tomorrow night. Xu Jing was a celebrity in the circle that Liu Qin met when he first came to Hong Kong. She debuted very early and married into a rich family after becoming famous. Later, she divorced her husband and returned to the entertainment circle. Xu Jing was very enthusiastic about charity and had a lot of connections in the circle. She was friends with Qin Feier. Although there was this relationship, because Liu Qin had a coffee with her alone once and was photographed by paparazzi, there was a small scandal, so Liu Qin basically didn't contact her much. But the release conference of her new album really had something to do with him. Chapter 535. At night, in Central Ring. A black Mercedes-Benz business car parked steadily in front of the Shangri-La Hotel. The doorman in a neat uniform immediately stepped forward, bowed and opened the door. Lu Qin got out of the car and landed steadily on the red carpet. The next moment, several flashes came on, and many paparazzi were hiding not far away to take pictures of him. Lu Qin was not surprised. He came here tonight to attend the release conference of Xu Jing's new album. With the latter's connections, she must have invited a lot of friends in the circle to come to support her. It was normal for paparazzi to come. However, these paparazzi who were not qualified to enter were basically tabloid reporters, who were at the bottom of the circle. After giving a tip to the doorman, Lu Qin walked into the lobby of the hotel alone. Xu Jing's press conference was held in the large conference hall on the third floor of the hotel. When Lu Qin arrived, there were already many guests inside, and the atmosphere was very lively. Interestingly, this magnificent conference hall had been rearranged and decorated. The background was full of blue sky, white clouds, beaches, coconut trees, boats. It was as if people had suddenly come to a tropical island. Beautiful hotel waiters in Hawaiian skirts shuttled through the crowd with champagne and snacks. On the long T-shaped stage, a band was playing cheerful music, and there was laughter everywhere. Xu Jing, in a red dress, was waiting for guests at the door. Seeing Lu Qin appear, the former little queen of Hong Kong suddenly showed a charming smile. "Lu Qin, why are you so late?" Lu Qin said embarrassedly. There was a traffic jam on the way. He took out the gift that he had prepared and presented it. "Sister Jing, I wish your album a hit." Xu Jing smiled and said, "Thank you. I believe that this album will be a success, because the theme song was written by you." Lu Qin smiled without saying anything. Because of their relationship with Qin Fei, Lu Qin wrote 2 songs for Xu Jing at her request, one of which was the title song of her new album. Alone Tonight. Xu Jing handed the gift to her assistant and asked for 2 glasses of champagne from the waiter. She handed 1 glass to Lu Qin. She asked curiously, "Why didn't you bring an assistant?" Lu Qin said, "Ajin had something to do at home, so I didn't let her come, so she's alone now." Xu Jing pursed her lips and smiled. "You make it sound so pitiful. You're really a good boss. Do you want me to introduce you to a temporary female companion? I have a few girlfriends who admire you very much." Usually, male guests who attended such occasions would bring a female companion or assistant. Being alone would inevitably give others a feeling of being down and out or unsociable. Lu Qin didn't mind at all. He surrendered and said, "Sister Jing, please spare me." Xu Jing giggled. "All right, I won't play with you anymore. You can do whatever you want. I won't bother you anymore." Lu Qin clasped his hands and said, "Sister Jing is magnanimous." The more Xu Jing looked at Lu Qin, the more she liked him. He was young, handsome and talented. What was rare was that he was not arrogant. He was easygoing on the outside but square on the inside. He was definitely a rare figure among the new generation of idol artists. She didn't have any special thoughts about Lu Qin. She just felt that Qin Fei was really lucky to find such a boyfriend. Of course, Lu Qin was also very lucky. It was just that the lucky Lu Qin encountered trouble after entering the press conference. He was about to find a place to sit down with a glass of champagne in his hand. Suddenly, he was blocked by someone and almost collided with them. Lu Qin didn't know who the other party was. Out of politeness, he quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, are you Lu Qin?" However, the other party's response was not so polite. There was a trace of hostility in the arrogance. "Ha!" Lu Qin couldn't help but stare at him. The man who blocked his way was about 30 years old. He was not very tall. He was wearing a navy suit. His facial features were angular and quite handsome. He looked awe-inspiring and his eyes were sharp. He stared at Lu Chen like a hawk staring at its prey. "May I ask who you are?" Lu Chen was very unfamiliar with this person. He had no impression of this person at all. The arrogant man pulled his face, as if he didn't care to answer the question at all, or ridiculed Lu Chen's ignorance. It was the female companion who followed him who said in a sweet voice, "This is President Chui of Huaguan Pictures." Huaguan Pictures. Lu Chen suddenly remembered that the other party was Chui Xingxian, the head of Huaguan Pictures. Huaguan Pictures was one of the top 10 film companies in China. It was also a subsidiary of Huaguan Entertainment Group. Chui Xingxian, who served as the general manager, was a young and vigorous person in the mainland film and television industry. He was very famous in the circle. In the past 2 years, Huaguan Pictures had been attacking everywhere in China. They had poached many well-known actors and directors to join them. They had continuously shot many films and TV series, and they had been in the limelight. Now this ambitious film company had extended its tentacles to Xiangjiang. It had cooperated with local entertainment companies in Xiangjiang to shoot the ghost movie, Painted Skin, intending to expand its business territory with the help of Xiangjiang's film support policy. Chui Xingxian even personally stayed in Xiangjiang to supervise the production of this co-production. Painted Skin happened to be the biggest competitor of A Chinese Ghost Story. Chui Xingxian regarded Lu Chen as a threat and used the Jiang family to make trouble for Lu Chen. Lu Chen had long known of Chui Xingxian's existence, but he didn't expect to meet him here tonight. Of course, he was not afraid. He said with a smile, "It turns out to be President Chui of Huaguan Pictures. I've heard a lot about you. Now I finally meet you in person. Nice to meet you." Although he said that he had heard a lot about you, there was a hint of sarcasm in his tone. What was he sarcastic about? Of course, he was mocking the person who hid behind the scenes and plotted against him. He was a complete villain. Chui Xingxian undoubtedly understood, and his eyes suddenly became gloomy. He said with a fake smile, "Very good, you are indeed the man that Chen Fei likes. You are indeed extraordinary. I hope your A Chinese Ghost Story will sell well and you will have a great future in Xiangjiang." Lu Chen said with a smile, "Thank you for your kind words, President Chui. I also hope that Painted Skin will sell well." While saying insincere polite words, their eyes collided, as if two invisible sharp blades collided in the air, flashing with a little sharpness. Chui Xingxian snorted coldly and turned away with his female companion. It seemed that he was not interested in continuing to quarrel with Lu Chen. Lu Chen smiled faintly. Since he went to Hong Kong to set up a studio to film A Chinese Ghost Story, he and Chui Xingxian had become opponents. Although Lu Chen had won the previous round of competition, Chui Xingxian was not hurt. Therefore, the real battle between the two was still to come, when A Chinese Ghost Story and Painted Skin were released. That was the time to decide the winner. Chapter 536. The entertainment industry in Hong Kong has always been a vanity fair. Hong Kong's entertainment industry is extremely developed, with a large number of star artists and entertainment agencies everywhere. It is a long-standing tradition for singers to launch a new album to hold a press conference, and it is also a moment to prove one's connections. Big stars have their own ostentation, and small artists have their own routines. In the same circle, there are always many people who support each other, but the album press conference to a large extent represents the singer's strength and status in the circle. As a female singer who returned to the entertainment industry, although the number of Xu Jing's fans can't be compared with her heyday, her connections in the circle are still the same. Therefore, for this press conference, Xu Jing not only invited many big names in Hong Kong's music industry, but also the reporters from satellite TV, ATV and major newspapers and magazines, making the momentum grand and lively. At 8:00 in the evening, all the guests arrived, and the press conference officially began. Xu Jing changed into a dress and instantly became the focus of the audience, and the flashes came one after another. She first thanked the guests and media who came to support her, and then reviewed her singing career with the host, thanking those seniors, friends, and colleagues who had helped and supported her. When it came to the emotional part, Xu Jing's eyes faintly flashed with crystal tears. For her, this return was not easy at all. When Xu Jing married into a rich family at the peak of her career, she resolutely retired from the music industry and settled down to be a rich wife. Who would have thought that there would be such a day? As the saying goes, the world is unpredictable. It is very difficult for a singer to regain her glory after leaving the music industry for many years. Many examples in the past have proved that this road back is the most difficult to walk. If she fails, her efforts will be in vain, and her resources will be squandered. Therefore, as strong as Xu Jing is, she is also very cautious about her debut album and has not released it. The current entertainment industry is no longer the entertainment industry when she was like a fish in water. There are many new people and idols, and the speed at which new artists are eliminated is unprecedentedly fast. The competition can be said to be extremely fierce. If Xu Jing does not make a comeback, she can continue to be a socialite in the upper class. As long as her luck is not too bad, she will definitely find a new happiness of her own. But if she chooses to return to the entertainment industry, she must face the ups and downs in the circle, and there will be no more comfortable days. Not everyone has the courage to start over. But Xu Jing is not a woman who is content with loneliness after all. I would like to thank a friend here. At this moment, Xu Jing, who was standing on the stage, said emotionally, "He created an excellent work for me. It's a blessing for me to encounter this song and sing this song." Her gaze landed on Lu Qin, and her eyes were filled with gratitude. "Now, please allow me to present this song to everyone. I hope everyone will like it." Applause and the accompaniment of the live band sounded at the same time. There were more than 100 or 200 guests attending the new album release conference tonight. Most of them were insiders, including many representatives of record companies and singers in the same industry. The name of Xu Jing's new album was called "The Years Are Beautiful," and the title song was exactly what she was going to sing now. The song was called "Summer Wind." Previously, Xu Jing had kept her new album under wraps. Except for a few related people, no one knew what her comeback work was or what style it was. In fact, there were not many people who cared about it. After all, she had been away from the music industry for a long time. But today, Xu Jing held a press conference with great fanfare and used all her contacts to invite guests and media to the scene. She arranged such a big show and had the momentum of cutting off all means of retreat. It was really not an exaggeration to say that she was cutting off all means of retreat. A has-been artist was worthless. Although Xu Jing was not an ordinary singer, one failure was enough to make her unable to lift her head in the industry. Now that she had made such a big deal, if the album did not sell well, it would become a joke. And Xu Jing seemed to be full of confidence, which inevitably aroused people's interest in her new album, especially the title song of the album, which was the focus of attention. Because the quality of the title song largely determined the future of the album. It was very common for a good song to make an album. Yeah. And the hall quickly quieted down, and Xu Jing began to sing on the stage. Her voice was still so sweet, mature with a hint of laziness, easily evoking the fantasies of people's hearts. The wind in July is lazy, even the clouds become hot. Not long after, it is stuffy, after a burst of clouds and rain, woo. Yeah, the temperature climbed to the unbearable. He simply closed his eyes. Let the imagination change, it will scene, two people strolling together. My face is also gently pressed against your chest, hear the heartbeat, care that I am the same temperature as the weather. The beautiful and moving melody, the concise and charming lyrics were interpreted by Xu Jing in a unique style different from ordinary love songs. There was no whining and heart-wrenching cry, but a gentle and warm narration. I will always remember the wind in summer, clearly say that you love me. I see your cool smile, there are also times when you are shy. The wind in summer is blowing warmly, through the hair, through the years. You and my summer, the wind said softly. Listening to this song, Wind in Summer, people unconsciously felt as if they had come to a small island in midsummer, walking hand in hand with their loved ones on the white beach, bathing in the sea breeze and listening to the dialogue of love from the heart. A simple and not simple song that warms the mood. Some of the guests on the scene are experts. Their evaluation of a work may be very different from that of ordinary fans, but there is no doubt that their judgment of the market trend is better than that of ordinary people. The title song of Xu Jing's new album is different from the popular love songs that are currently flooding the music industry. It is not vulgar, not kitsch, and not pretentious. It can be said to be a unique and clean stream. Such a song will either be appreciated by a small number of people or become a big hit. There is no other possibility. In many people's view, the latter is more likely. Because there is a lack of real original good works in today's Hong Kong pop music industry. To put it simply, Wind in Summer is good to listen to. Whether it is the ace section or the chorus, it has a refreshing feeling. It is a work that can really move people. What is thought-provoking is that Xu Jing sings in Mandarin instead of Cantonese, which is more conducive to its release in the mainland. Many people looked at Lu Qin. Because they all know very well who the friend Xu Jing thanked just now is. Note, Wind in Summer, lyricist, Jay Cho/composer, Liang Hongbin. Chapter 537. Hong Kong's pop music once had an extremely glorious period. In the 1980s, with the rapid development of Hong Kong's economy, Hong Kong's entertainment industry showed explosive growth. Movies, TV, pop music, and so on were in full bloom. Not only did it have a huge impact on the mainland, but it was also exported to Southeast Asian countries and became the famous Oriental Hollywood. At that time, a large number of outstanding songwriters also emerged in Hong Kong. They used their extraordinary talents to support the sky of the entertainment industry. Many of the classic works born from this are still sung by people today. But as the saying goes, the height of prosperity leads to the fall of prosperity. Nowadays, these industry seniors had either passed away or retired. The few who were still active in the industry were unable to reproduce the glory of the past. It was a very common phenomenon for people to run out of talents. The most important thing is that the original creators of Hong Kong's pop music have no successors. The trend of Japanese and Korean idols has made popular songs and fast songs. Hong Kong's pop music has once again embarked on the old road of covering, plagiarizing Japanese, Korean, European and American songs. The current situation of Hong Kong's music industry is very similar to that of the mainland. It has reached the point where it has to be changed. Compared with the mainland, which has a deep foundation, it is more difficult for Hong Kong's pop music to rise again. There is a gap in the excellent creators. It is precisely because of this that Lu Qin, who comes from the mainland, is so dazzling. Today, there are really few people in Hong Kong's entertainment industry who don't know Lu Qin. The song, The Love of My Life, shook Hong Kong, and the appreciation of superstar Lu Gangxing made him the focus of the media. Behind the fame, Lu Qin has a strong strength in music creation. The song, Summer Wind, he wrote for Xu Jing is undoubtedly an excellent proof. Xu Jing is going to be famous. Xu Jing used to be very popular. After she retired from the entertainment industry, she was not popular anymore. The road to comeback was originally more difficult than that of a newcomer, but now it seems to have become simple. Help from a benefactor. Many people in the circle know that Lu Qin has a nickname called Golden Hand. It is said that any singer created by him can easily become popular. In the past, many people scoffed at such a statement and were skeptical about the rumor that Lu Chen's one song was worth 1 million yuan. Now they really believe it. Not only do they believe it, but some people also think about whether to invite Lu Chen to sing a song. The price of 1 million yuan sounds scary, but if you think about it carefully, it is a cost-effective deal to become famous with one song. Xu Jing is so smart. She invited Lu Chen to sing a Mandarin song, which is the most accepted romantic song by the public. The new album is promising in the mainland market, and she can even use Lu Chen's name to hype it. Few of the guests present were fools, especially several female singers. Their eyes became hot when they looked at Lu Chen. If it weren't for politeness, they probably would have immediately struck up a conversation with Lu Chen. With the song Summer Wind as the opening, Xu Jing's Good Times Are Good album release was held very successfully. After the guests' congratulations, fan interaction, live lottery, and so on, it ended in a grand manner at 10 p.m. It was not the first time that Xu Jing invited Lu Chen alone. Last time, the scene of the two drinking coffee together was secretly photographed by the paparazzi, which resulted in a scandal. This is not the first time that Xu Jing has invited Lu Chen alone. The last time the two of them drank coffee together, they were secretly photographed by paparazzi, and as a result, a big scandal came out. Therefore, she was extra careful this time and specially booked a quiet seat where no one would disturb her. After the two sat down, Xu Jing's first sentence was to thank him. She thanked him very sincerely. After the two sat down, Xu Jing's first sentence was to thank him. She thanked him very seriously and sincerely. Xu Jing is very clear about the difficulty of her comeback. This new album is really important to her, so she has been very careful in choosing songs and has not decided yet. Because the songs she originally invited are of good quality, but if she wants to stand out in the current extremely competitive market environment, it is far from enough. At least there is no title song worthy of a heavy bet. Therefore, Xu Jing repeatedly postponed her comeback, and even put the focus of her work on her charity, which is actually a helpless move. She really can't afford to lose. Fortunately, God blessed her and sent Lu Chen to her. Lu Chen tailor-made 2 works for her album, and also determined the overall style and tone of the album, easily solving the biggest problem she faced. The most important thing is that these 2 songs are very good, which gives her great confidence. This is more important than anything else. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Sister Jing, you have thanked me many times. In fact, you really don't have to be so polite. You paid." Because Chen Fei, and Xu Jing are friends, Lu Chen offered a friendship price for the 2 songs tailored for Xu Jing, a total of 1.5 million. It is a lot cheaper, but compared to other songwriters, it is a top price. Xu Jing said, "Business is business, and friendship is friendship. I will not forget your help." Through Chen Fei, she is very clear about Lu Chen's current position in the domestic pop music world. There are many people who want to ask Lu Chen for songs, and there are many singers who can afford to pay millions of yuan. However, if you want to ask Lu Chen to do it, you can't do it with money. He is not short of money at all now. Friendship. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Sister Jing, you also helped me and let me know a lot of people. Without Xu Jing's help, he would not have integrated into the local circle of Xiangjiang so quickly." At the press conference in the evening, Xu Jing introduced a lot of celebrities in the circle to him. Among them, there may be members of the Xiangjiang Film Support Policy Review Committee. Xu Jing said with a smile, "You received a lot of business cards tonight, right? I saw a group of girls around you just now." Lu Chen smiled bitterly. This is not his fault. Xu Jing said half jokingly and half seriously, "You have to be careful. The girls in Xiangjiang are very enthusiastic, especially those in the circle. You have to control yourself." She said it a little implicitly, but Lu Chen could understand it completely. Now Lu Chen has become popular, and the purpose of these women in the circle surrounding him must not be simple. Some may just want to buy his songs, some may be people who like him, and some may use him to hype up. In the entertainment circle, it is very important to be careful with your words and actions, otherwise it is easy to fall. Xu Jing's reminder is undoubtedly out of good intentions. Lu Chen nodded and said, "I understand, Sister Jing, don't worry." Xu Jing smiled sweetly and said, "That's good." Lu Chen smiled, picked up the coffee on the table and took a sip. Sweet and bitter. At this moment, outside the window, the lights of Xiangjiang shrouded in the night were brilliant, and the Victoria Harbor in the distance was particularly beautiful. Chapter 538. On January 12th, Xu Jing's new album, Good Times, was officially released. The record company she signed for was the famous Nine Dragons Records, which was established in the 1970s and has gone through decades of ups and downs, and is still one of the big players in the industry. According to the usual practice, the digital version and CD version of Good Times were sold online and offline simultaneously. Nine Dragons Records also specially ordered a full set of Nostalgic Limited Edition, which included all of Xu Jing's albums since her debut. Before that, the promotional campaign for the album, Good Times, had been carried out vigorously. Xu Jing used to be very popular in the Xiangjiang pop music world. When she was at her peak, she bravely retired and married into a rich family, which caused a great sensation both inside and outside the circle, so the people of Xiangjiang were no strangers to her. Last year, Xu Jing's divorce with her ex-husband also became the headline of gossip, which somewhat restored some popularity. This time, she put a lot of effort into promoting her first album after her comeback, showing the courage to cut off all means of retreat. Good Times was a romantic and warm love song album. Its title song, Summer Wind, was sung by Xu Jing, which was no weaker than in the past. It was like a refreshing sea breeze blowing into the Xiangjiang pop music world, causing a huge response among a large number of fans. This catchy love song was loved by countless young people. In just 5 days, the number of downloads of the original album on the internet reached 120,000, and the sales of the CD and limited edition were also quite gratifying. Another song in the album, Courage, which was also written and composed by Lu Chen, together with Summer Wind, reached the top 2 of the pop music chart on Hong Kong Island radio. So far, Xu Jing's comeback could be said to be extremely successful, and it was only a matter of time before she returned to her former peak. For fans, they cared about Xu Jing herself, but people in the industry were more interested in Lu Chen. Because Xu Jing's success was inseparable from the support of Lu Chen, who single-handedly raised her to the clouds. For a time, people called or ran to Lu Chen's studio to seek cooperation, or invited songs. Many singers and artists even came out in person, just to ask Lu Chen to create a work for them. However, at this time, Lu Chen was basically not in the studio. He spent all his time on Starlight Reflections, working day and night with Wan Xiaoquan, dubbing and composing music, supervising the special effects, post-production, and editing. He wished he could split himself into 2 halves. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, it was already the end of January. On January 25th, December 28th of the lunar calendar, the staff of Lu Chen's Hong Kong studio finally met their boss. It would be the Spring Festival in a few days. The people of Xiangjiang celebrating the Spring Festival was a very grand event. The local companies would usually start their holidays on the 26th and start work on the 8th day of the first lunar month. For the people of Xiangjiang who were used to the fast-paced life and work, the Spring Festival was their longest holiday. Lu Chen's studio had a lot of work recently, so the holiday was postponed until the 28th. Chen Wenxiang had booked a banquet in the hotel and treated all the employees to the company's New Year's Eve dinner. Nowadays, Lu Chen's studio is no longer the original 2 or 3 kittens. With the unfolding of the shooting project of A Chinese Ghost Story, many employees have been recruited one after another. Now there are more than 20 people, sitting at 2 tables. Cheers! The wine glasses clinked together, and the private room was full of laughter. Most of the employees of Lu Chin's studio were young people. Young people meant vitality, so the year-end party was naturally lively. Boss, let me toast to you. Young Master Lu, let me toast to you. Boss, although the studio had spent money like water so far and did not have much income, everyone was full of hope for the future, because their boss was Lu Chin. The few new girls looked at Lu Chin with sparkling eyes. Lu Chin did not refuse the employees' toast in turn. Some time ago, when A Chinese Ghost Story was being filmed, they worked very hard without complaint, so they should be rewarded at the end of the year. The most direct way to reward them was a red packet. Everyone had one, and it was a thick and big one. Even Ma Rongjin, who was not considered a member of Lu Chin's studio, was included. After Ma Rongjin finished filming A Chinese Ghost Story, he was temporarily unemployed again. Although he was the male supporting role in this movie, before A Chinese Ghost Story was released, this old actor was still a salted fish. After receiving the red packet from Lu Chin, Ma Rongjin was very touched. He was speechless. Everyone was satisfied with this New Year's Eve dinner. Uncle Quan, after the dinner, all the employees left. Lu Chin asked Wan Xiaoquan, "Are you really not going back?" After working together on A Chinese Ghost Story, the friendship between the two of them had deepened a lot. Wan Xiaoquan was serious and responsible in his work, and his professional ability was very strong. Without his direction, how could A Chinese Ghost Story be filmed on time so smoothly? The post-editing was inseparable from him. The framework of Lu Chin's studio was basically built by him. He was a real veteran. For such a helper, Lu Chin was naturally very concerned. Wan Xiaoquan was going to stay in Hong Kong for the new year. Hearing Lu Chin's question, a bitter smile appeared on his face. He shook his head and said, "There's no point in going back. It's better to stay here. There are still many friends here." Lu Chin was silent. Character determined fate. Wan Xiaoquan's character was destined to have a rough life experience. After that big change, he was alone. Otherwise, he would not have come to Hong Kong. For Wan Xiaoquan, his coming to Hong Kong was undoubtedly a turning point in his life. Here, he regained his career and confidence, and also made a lot of friends. Therefore, he did not want to go back to the capital, back to that cold home, and did not want to see other people's sympathetic eyes. Since Wan Xiaoquan insisted, Lu Chin did not force him. "Well, have a good rest for a few days. I'll pay a New Year's greeting to Director Zhang on your behalf. He will understand." Wan Xiaoquan was grateful. "Thank you." Early the next morning, Lu Chin took the earliest flight back to the capital. Then he had the second New Year's Eve dinner in the studio. There were more people and it was more lively in the studio in the capital. In addition, the studio had made a lot of profits last year, so Lu Shi gave all the employees a big red envelope. The gifts used for the lucky draw were also valuable. On January 27th, Lu Chin and Lu Shi returned to their hometown in Binhai. And Chin Fei had arrived in advance. A family reunion is a lively and happy New Year's. Chapter 539. On January 27th, New Year's Eve, it was time to make a fortune, open the market, and move. 3:00 in the afternoon, Xing Wang Temple. The Xing Wang Temple was located in the center of the old city area of Binhai City. It was undoubtedly one of the few well-preserved historical sites in this new coastal city, and it was also a bustling place. Especially during the new year, the temple fair here was the busiest. People from all the major towns and villages flocked to the temple fair. The shops along the street opened their doors to do business, and the street stalls were set up several miles away, selling many things that had disappeared in modern big cities to passers-by and tourists. According to past practices, the temple fair would start on December 25th and end on the Lantern Festival in the first lunar month. Many residents of Binhai City would often go to the fair with their whole families to buy things such as New Year's paintings, couplets, lanterns, firecrackers, and so on. Modern society was changing too fast, and only these things could retain some of the real flavor of the new year. Many smart citizens would often choose to go to the fair on the afternoon of New Year's Eve, because at that time, merchants and stall owners were usually willing to sell their goods at a low price in order to recoup their capital. For those stall owners who were eager to get rid of their goods and go home for the new year, a couplet that usually cost 10 or 20 yuan might be thrown away for 5 or 6 yuan. Exquisite handmade traditional pouches could be bought at a 50% discount. Chen Feier took Lu Chen's hand and squeezed in and out of the crowd. Her other hand was carrying 4 or 5 such embroidered pouches. She was beaming like a mouse that had fallen into a rice jar, and her heart was full of happiness and joy. Lu Chen was carrying more things in his hand, such as New Year's paintings, paper cuts, local pastries, maltos, and so on. He filled a big bag with all kinds of things. This morning, he and Lu Shi took the earliest high-speed train back to Binhai from Jing City. Chen Feier went directly to Binhai after attending a commercial performance in Binhai yesterday. She rushed to live in a villa in Jingsheng district before Lu Chen arrived. The two had already agreed to spend the new year at Lu Chen's house. Because Chen Feier wanted to see the special features of Binhai during the new year, Lu Chen brought her to the town god's temple. The weather was very cold, and both of them were wearing thick down jackets. Chen Feier was even wearing a scarf and a hat. Other than their height being a little conspicuous, they were not much different from an ordinary couple. They were not recognized in the crowd. Therefore, none of the passers-by could have imagined that this bouncing girl, who was interested in everything, wanted to buy everything, and haggled over the price of everything, was actually the hottest heavenly queen in the pop music industry. Such a fun place. Chen Feier pinched the loot he had just obtained and complained to Lu Chen, "You should have told me earlier. I wouldn't have been able to finish this in one afternoon. I could have come here with Lu Shui yesterday." Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How would I know? Don't you have such a market in your hometown?" Chen Feier's expression suddenly became gloomy. Lu Chen immediately realized that he had said the wrong thing, so he quickly changed the topic and said, "It doesn't matter. The market reopens on the second day of the new year until the end of the Lantern Festival. Especially on the day of the Lantern Festival, it is the most lively and fun." He held his girlfriend's hand tightly. "If you like, we can stay until the Lantern Festival before leaving." Originally, Lu Chen planned to go to Hong Kong on the 4th or 5th day of the new year. The post-production of A Chinese Ghost Story was in the sprint stage, but it was interrupted by the new year, so he needed to be there. But compared to Chen Feier, it was nothing at all. It didn't matter at all to delay it for a few days. Feeling Lu Chen's sincere intention, Chen Feier's face bloomed with a charming smile again. She tiptoed and kissed Lu Chen on the face, then pointed to the front and said, "Let's go over there and have a look." Lu Chen nodded, and their figures quickly disappeared into the bustling crowd. It was not until it was dark that the two returned home with big and small bags. "Mom!" Lu Chen put the things on the sofa in the living room and shouted to the kitchen, "Feier and I are back." Fang Yun poked her head out of the kitchen and said with a smile, "Sit down and watch TV for a while. The New Year's Eve dinner will be ready soon." There were already 5 or 6 delicious dishes on the dining table in the small dining room, exuding a tempting fragrance. Chen Feier took off her scarf and walked to the kitchen. "Auntie, let me help you." Fang Yun had already treated her as her daughter-in-law, not a guest, so she did not refuse but agreed with a smile. Sitting on the soft and comfortable sofa, looking at the busy figures of his mother and girlfriend through the glass door of the kitchen, Lu Chen's heart was full of joy and happiness. Brother. Unfortunately, he was only at ease for a moment when Lu Shui and Lu Shi also returned home with big and small bags. Seeing Lu Chen, Lu Shui directly pounced on him like a tiger and hugged him like an octopus, as if the two had been separated for a long time. Where's my red envelope and my lucky money? The younger sister was still studying, and the older brother had already made money, so it was natural for the younger sister to ask the older brother for a red packet. However, someone couldn't stand it and slapped her little butt. Get down. You're a big girl, but you're still clinging to people. Look at yourself. Lu Shui pouted her mouth in grievance, but still climbed down from Lu Chen. She was not afraid of anything, but she was afraid of her sister, Lu Shi's strictness. Lu Chen was secretly amused. He took out a red packet from his coat pocket and handed it to Lu Shui. Here. In this world, the one Lu Chen loves the most is his sister. The thing he treasured the most was the rosewood guitar that Lu Shui bought for him with all her red packet. Although it was a piece of cake for Lu Chen to buy a new guitar that was worth several times or even dozens of times, the guitar had always been by his side. There were many things that couldn't be measured with money. Lu Shui immediately turned from sadness to joy. She snatched the red packet at lightning speed and then leaned over to kiss Lu Chen's face. Thank you, brother. However, she was a little confused when she got the red packet. Why is it so light? Lu Chen smiled and said, This is a supplementary card I made for you. You can swipe it when you need anything. He had once made a vow to let his sister live a princess life. This supplementary card could be used for up to a limit of 1 million yuan. Lu Shui beamed with joy. Thank you, brother. She couldn't wait to open the red packet, took out the credit card, and carefully stuffed it into her wallet. Lu Shi shook her head and reminded her, You can't use the card randomly. Don't get into the habit of being extravagant. Lu Shui nodded, then held Lu Chen's arm tightly and leaned her head on her brother's shoulder. Whether he had money or not, in her heart, her brother would always be the best brother. Chapter 540. Whether they were rich or not, they could go home for the new year. For those who had been wandering outside for a long time, it was undoubtedly the happiest thing in life to be able to return to their familiar and warm home and have a reunion dinner with their family. On the New Year's Eve of 2017, the reunion of the Lu family was more important than anything else. Qin Fei became the favorite at the dinner table. Although she hadn't married Lu Qin yet and was considered an outsider, Fang Yun completely regarded her as her daughter-in-law and put all the good dishes in her bowl, which made Lu Qin and her siblings very jealous. Mom, you are too partial to sister-in-law. Even Lu Shui, who regarded Qin Fei as her idol, complained, I want to eat chicken drumsticks too. The local chicken, which had been stewed in a clay pot with Chinese medicine for 3 to 4 hours, was one of Fang Yun's specialties. Both chicken drumsticks were given to Qin Fei. No wonder Lu Shui also complained of favoritism. You are still eating. Fang Yun knocked on her daughter's head with chopsticks and said, How much do you weigh now? Your sister-in-law has lost a lot of weight because of hard work. In order to shoot the long drama, Xingshi Long Song, Qin Fei followed the crew all over the country. It was very hard for her to shoot. Compared with the last time she came to the Lu family, she really lost a lot of weight. Fang Yun saw it and naturally felt sorry for her daughter-in-law. Fang Yun was very satisfied with Qin Fei as her future daughter-in-law. It wasn't because Qin Fei was a big star or anything, but because she was sensible and virtuous, which made people feel at ease. Being older was actually an advantage. She didn't need Lu Qin to make do with her. Therefore, although they didn't spend much time together, Fang Yun unconsciously approved of Qin Fei and also favored her. Lu Shua covered her head and was speechless. She had gained at least 3 kilograms during the winter vacation. Chen Fei blushed and quickly put a chicken drumstick into Lu Shua's bowl. "One is enough for me. Actually, Xiao Xue is fine. She can eat more." Lu Shua beamed with joy. "Thank you, sister-in-law." If it had been someone else, she would definitely not have wanted it since she was traumatized by her mother's words. Fang Yun glared at her and said nothing more. This New Year's Eve dinner was very warm, but for Chen Fei, the only difficulty was that there were too many dishes for her. In the end, Lu Chen couldn't stand it anymore and helped her out, resulting in a few complaints from his mother. The Spring Festival Gala of CCTV had been held for decades. As a variety show with the highest ratings in China, watching the Spring Festival Gala had long been one of the new customs of Chinese people. Although the ratings of the Spring Festival Gala were declining, on New Year's Eve, its position in the ratings was unshakable and firmly occupied the screen of the Chinese people. Although the ratings of the Spring Festival Gala were declining, on New Year's Eve, its position in the ratings was unshakable and firmly occupied the Chinese screen. Lu Shua asked Chen Fei, curiously, "Sister-in-law, why didn't you be invited to the Spring Festival Gala?" In the domestic pop music world in 2016, Chen Fei could be said to be very popular. The album Woman Flower made her complete a successful transformation and climb to a new peak. No female singer could compare with her. Therefore, it was normal for Chen Fei to be on the Spring Festival Gala. It was a bit strange that she was not selected. Chen Fei said with a smile, "You can't go to the Spring Festival Gala just because you want to. I've been there twice, so it's normal that I didn't go this time." It was true that not everyone could go on the Spring Festival Gala just because they wanted to, no matter how famous they were. The selection of the Spring Festival Gala depended not only on the quality of the program, but also on connections and other unknown factors. For example, the language programs that had been ridiculed by the audience in recent years, whether it was crosstalk or skit, gave people the feeling that they were getting worse year by year. Were all the creators really exhausted? The truth was not so. The water was very deep, and it would take days and nights to finish talking about it. Chen Fei was one of the few people who knew the inside story. In fact, when selecting the programs for this Spring Festival Gala, there were rumors that she was invited to participate, but she chose to give it up. Because for the current Chen Fei, the fame and fortune brought by being on the Spring Festival Gala were far less happy than having a New Year's Eve dinner here. Another reason was that Lu Qin was not invited. Of course, she would not tell anyone about these reasons, including Lu Qin. Lu Shue did not understand. She only said regretfully, "What a pity." Was it a pity? Chen Fei looked at Lu Qin sitting next to her with a smile. She did not feel that it was a pity at all. The Spring Festival Gala was broadcast for a long time, and the Lu family did not watch it too late. When it was just past 11 o'clock, they dispersed to rest. Lu Qin and Chen Fei also went back to their rooms. It was close to midnight, the time when the fireworks were bright. Neither of them was sleepy, so they sat on the chairs on the balcony together and enjoyed the gorgeous blooming flowers in the distant night sky. According to the local custom of Binhai, firecrackers and fireworks on New Year's Eve should be set off until the next morning. The richer the family was, the more fireworks they set off. The more fireworks they set off, the more money they would make in the coming year. Of course, not everyone followed this custom. For example, in the Jingsheng district where the Lu family lived, many local rich people gathered, but no one had been seen harassing their neighbors openly. However, the fireworks on this year's New Year's Eve were particularly brilliant and beautiful in the clear night sky. Chen Fei, curled up in Lu Chen's arms, looked up at the night sky, and murmured softly, "I'm 1 year older." She was a little sad and a little disappointed. Time passed quickly. Another year passed in the blink of an eye. As a woman, she was very sensitive. Lu Qin said in a low voice, "Are you afraid that you can't get married when you are old?" "It doesn't matter. I'll marry you." Chen Fei could not help but burst into laughter. She rolled her eyes at him coquettishly and said, "I won't marry you." Lu Qin chuckled and lowered his head to kiss her slightly cold red lips. After a series of entanglement and sucking, Chen Fei's pretty face turned red and she was almost out of breath. Lu Qin let go of her and asked with a smile, "You still won't marry me?" Chen Fei's charming eyes were like silk, but she shook her head hard and said, "No." "All right." Lu Qin finally couldn't help but say, "You force me to do this." He suddenly stood up, and at the same time, he also picked up Chen Fei, turned around, and strode back to the room. In Chen Fei's suppressed scream, the big bed sank heavily. The room was suddenly full of spring. On the first day of the new year, because the firecrackers outside were very noisy, the two got up very early. As usual, after breakfast, Fang Yun took the family to Changle Temple to burn incense and worship the Buddha. Then it was time to visit relatives for the new year. On the 5th day of the new year, Lu Qin and Chen Fei flew to Hong Kong together, and did not stay in Binhai until the Lantern Festival. A new year had begun, and so did their careers. Chapter 541. February 1st, the 5th day of the first lunar month. That night, a photo taken at the Hong Kong International Airport appeared on the online entertainment section of the Hong Kong Express, and then was reprinted by many media. The main characters of this photo were Lu Qin and Chen Fei, holding hands as they walked through the passenger passage. Chen Fei was one of the few mainland singers who were familiar with the people of Hong Kong. Of course, her popularity could not be compared with the big stars in the Hong Kong entertainment circle, but with the 3 awards of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart, she had become a household name in Hong Kong. The awards ceremony of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart was broadcast live by Hong Kong TV. Because Lu Gangxing and many other Hong Kong superstars participated, the audience rating at that time was as high as 38.75%, and also let more people in Hong Kong know the queen of the mainland pop music industry. At the same time, Lu Qin also benefited. Not only that, on January 29th, which was the 2nd day of the first lunar month, Hong Kong TV broadcast Autumn in My Heart, starring Lu Qin and Chen Fei, at the prime time of 8 o'clock in the evening, which caused a round of ratings frenzy. Autumn in My Heart was filmed a year ago, and it was broadcast in the mainland and South Korea respectively, and achieved amazing ratings. Later, it was introduced by Taiwan and many Southeast Asian countries, and the response was fierce. At that time, many cable TV stations in Hong Kong wanted to buy the broadcasting rights of this TV series, but Lu Qin's studio refused all of them based on the consideration of ratings. The broadcasting rights of this TV series in Hong Kong could only be sold to Hong Kong TV or ATV. Both Hong Kong TV and ATV expressed interest, but there were differences on the specific terms, so they dragged it until the end of last year to negotiate a contract with Hong Kong TV. After Hong Kong TV got the rights, they redubbed it, so the Cantonese version of Autumn in My Heart was not officially broadcast until this year. In fact, this TV series, which was regarded as a classic, was already available for download on the internet in high-definition pirated sources. Many young people in Hong Kong had already seen it, but this did not affect its charm. Once it was broadcast, it caused a lot of sensation. In the past, most of the TV dramas that were introduced into Xinjiang were historical dramas and masterpieces. There were very few modern urban dramas, and the few that were introduced into Xinjiang also had low ratings. However, Autumn in My Heart was definitely an unusual existence. After the first 4 episodes were broadcasted, its highest ratings had jumped to the first place, reaching 68.69%, which shook the film and television circle of Hong Kong. As the male and female leads of this TV series, Lu Chen and Chen Fei, who came to Hong Kong again, naturally had their value doubled and became the darling of the media. The most direct impact of this was that Lu Chen and Chen Fei's number of fans on Hong Kong blogs had doubled in just a few days. Many people in the entertainment industry were jealous of them. Therefore, when the photos of Lu Chen and Chen Fei at the airport were exposed, the number of reporters squatting at the entrance of Rongjin building suddenly increased, and the resourceful paparazzi even tracked the two to their love nest in Repulse Bay. As for various invitations for interviews and programs, they flew to Lu Chen's studio like snowflakes. Unfortunately, most of the media were turned away. Chen Fei only stayed in Xiangjiang for 3 days before returning to the capital, and Lu Chen was busy with the post-production of A Chinese Ghost Story, so he temporarily declined all the invitations. However, this did not mean that he was cut off from the media. On the contrary, the promotional campaign of A Chinese Ghost Story had just begun. The investment budget of A Chinese Ghost Story was 30 million yuan, and the production and post-production special effects each accounted for half, but it did not include the cost of publicity. In order to make the movie a hit, Lu Chen's studio gave a publicity budget of 20 million yuan, which was used in Xiangjiang and the mainland. The mainland film market was the focus of A Chinese Ghost Story. However, if they could not get a place in Xiangjiang's new film support policy, the former would be in vain. Therefore, the local publicity in Xiangjiang could not be ignored at all. The broadcast of Autumn in My Heart could be said to be at the right time. Its popularity helped Lu Chen save at least a few million yuan in publicity fees. As the first movie that Lu Chen, Chen Fei, and the actors in Xiangjiang worked together, it undoubtedly attracted the attention of many people, especially the young people in Xiangjiang. However, Lu Chen would not be careless because of this, because the Painted Skin, co-produced by Huaguan Pictures and Star Art Entertainment, had begun large-scale pre-promotion before the new year. Moreover, Painted Skin was scheduled to premiere on February 14th, which was Valentine's Day. Therefore, in various senses, Painted Skin was the strongest opponent that A Chinese Ghost Story faced, and the biggest stumbling block on the latter's road to the box office. The weight of this stumbling block was not ordinary. Painted Skin claimed to have invested 150 million yuan, but in fact, it should be about 100 million. It was already very late at night, but the lights in the office of Lu Chen's Xiangjiang film studio were still on. Wisps of smoke were enshrouding the light bulbs, but then they were blown away by the heat and dispersed into the air. An internal meeting of the studio was being held. Lu Chen, Chen Wenxiang, Wan Shaoquan, and Li Zhen were all present. Li Zhen was the assistant and was in charge of taking minutes of the meeting. Meanwhile, Lu Chen and the other two were discussing the publicity and screening plan of A Chinese Ghost Story, as well as the many problems they were facing. Chen Wenxiang took a deep puff of his cigarette and said in a deep voice, "I heard that Huaguan and Star Art are preparing to invest more than 10 million yuan in publicity in Hong Kong, at least 3 times more than us." Chen Wenxiang was not a heavy smoker. He had quit smoking a few years ago, but recently he had started smoking again. Because he was under a lot of pressure. Although he had not joined Lu Chen's studio for a long time, Chen Wenxiang had already regarded himself as a real member of the studio and was working hard for the studio. As for the studio's first project, Chen Wenxiang attached more importance to A Chinese Ghost Story than Lu Chen. Not only was it related to his job and reputation, but it was also because his beloved daughter was playing a role in it. He wanted A Chinese Ghost Story to succeed more than anyone else. However, the reality was very serious. A Chinese Ghost Story was also scheduled to be released on Valentine's Day, February 14th. The two movies were competing for support at the same time, and they were works of the same genre. They were simply natural enemies. However, in terms of volume, A Chinese Ghost Story was no match for Painted Skin at all. Painted Skin's investors and producers were all well-known companies in the industry. It was no problem for them to crush a small studio. Its investment scale was also several times that of A Chinese Ghost Story, and its publicity was even more aggressive. Investing more than 10 million yuan in publicity in Hong Kong. Wan Xiaoquan was surprised. Can they earn it back? Chapter 542. Wan Xiaoquan's surprise was not without reason. People in Xiangjiang liked watching movies very much. According to statistics, every Xiangjiang person spent more than 300 yuan on movies every year, which was a box office of 3 to 4 billion yuan, not including other expenses in the cinema. However, at least 60% of the box office of 3 to 4 billion yuan was taken away by foreign blockbusters, leaving Hong Kong film companies at most a few billion yuan, and the number of films participating in this cake was as high as 2 to 300. Oriental Hollywood was not an undeserved reputation. Many small and medium-sized film companies could often make a movie in a few weeks. At the craziest time, there was the so-called 7 days of fresh, which meant that it took 7 days to complete a new movie, which was simply shocking. Such a high-speed production of a movie was bound to be a shoddy work. In order to ensure profits, these fast food movies were basically of the third-level violence, bloody horror, and so on. With the advantages of low cost and sensory stimulation, they also seized part of the market. As a result, after being squeezed by foreign blockbusters and low-budget films, it was not easy for Hong Kong blockbusters to survive. Although there were a number of blockbusters with box office of over 100 million since the 1990s, they suffered more losses. For example, Special Mobile Police, which was released in Xiangjiang last year, had an investment of 75 million yuan, and the publicity cost was over 100 million yuan. It had a strong cast of stars, but the box office was less than 50 million yuan in 4 weeks. After deducting the high percentage given to the cinema, the investors suffered a huge loss. The investment for The Painted Skin was higher than that of Special Mobile Police, which was not a big problem. After all, it was mainly aimed at the mainland market. However, it was a bit too much to spend more than 10 million yuan on publicity in Xiangjiang. The publicity budget for A Chinese Ghost Story was 20 million yuan, of which the Xiangjiang part was only 3 million yuan. Most of the budget had to be invested in the mainland media. Publicity was actually a bottomless pit. No matter how much money was invested, it was necessary to do what one could. Chen Wenxiang said, looking at their publicity posture, 15 million yuan is not enough. Television, newspapers, magazines, bus stops, mobile advertising, multimedia, and the internet. The current publicity campaign for The Painted Skin could be said to be in full bloom, and the investment must be amazing. This kind of aggressive advertising offensive undoubtedly brought great pressure to competitors. It should be known that The Painted Skin and A Chinese Ghost Story were not the only films that were rushing to be released in the new year. The number of films that had signed up for the 20 support spots had already reached as many as 200. Many of them would participate in the box office competition at the same time, and some films had already started publicity. For a movie, publicity was the most important thing. The competition in the market was fierce, and if the publicity was not in place, it would mean a 90% failure. But books that burned money like Painted Skin were few and far between. Wan Xiaoquan really couldn't understand it. Guan is probably trying to expand into new markets through this movie, Lu Chen said. Spending a lot of money on publicity is Cui Xingxin's usual method. Last year, he proposed the so-called strategy of going north and south. Xiangjiang is equivalent to the bridgehead, so it is not strange that he spent a lot of effort to promote the new film. At present, the competition for the domestic box office was extremely fierce. Although the market was big, there were many big shots who wanted a piece of the cake. Among them, Wagwan Pictures was not the strongest. Therefore, Chui Xingxian intended to expand into emerging markets. The so-called North and South referred to entering the film market of Japan, South Korea, and Southeast Asia. Hong Kong was undoubtedly a strategic location. Taking advantage of Xiangjiang's film support policy was only a part of Chui Xingxian's ambitious plan. His goal was very big. If The Painted Skin suffered a setback in Xiangjiang, how could he continue in the future? Ever since he knew who his opponent was, Lu Qin had asked Lu Shi to inquire about the relevant inside information of Wagwan Pictures through various channels. He tried to know himself and his enemy as much as possible. Therefore, compared to Wan Shaoquan, he knew Chui Xingxian's intentions better. Wan Shaoquan asked, "Then how should we deal with it? Should we increase the investment in publicity?" Although his name was not in the subtitles of A Chinese Ghost Story, Wan Shaoquan had poured countless efforts and hopes into this movie. He did not want to drop the ball at the last stage. Lu Qin smiled and said, "It's not a big deal to increase publicity. The problem is that we can't follow the rhythm of our opponent." The publicity of The Painted Skin was already ahead. If The Chinese Ghost Story wanted to catch up, it would have to pay a higher price. This was not what he wanted to see. "I'm going to postpone the release of A Chinese Ghost Story to February 21st. Originally, A Chinese Ghost Story was planned to be officially released on February 14th, which was Valentine's Day. However, since it was going to clash with The Painted Skin head-on, it was undoubtedly a wise choice to avoid the enemy. This was because that would be the time when the publicity for The Painted Skin would be at its fiercest. It would be much better after a week. In Hong Kong, the arrangements for the cinema chain were much more flexible than in the mainland. If it were in the mainland, it would definitely not be so easy to change the schedule at the last minute. This was because many movies were arranged a long time in advance. Wan Shaoquan was a little unwilling. "Then we can only see how happy they are. An extra week will also give us more time to prepare," Lu Qin comforted him. "The one who laughs at the end is the winner. This way, we don't have to rush too much in the later stages." He said to Chen Wenxiang, "Uncle Chang, regarding the cinema chain, I'll have to trouble you to communicate with Jiayang and arrange it as well as possible." The cinema chain was equally important. In this aspect, it would be arranged by Lu Qin Studios' partner, Jiayang Pictures. Although the latter's connections and resources were not very big, considering the requirements of the change, there would probably be some twists and turns. There was not much time left. Chen Wenxiang nodded. He suggested, "In fact, we have an advantage in terms of publicity. Young Master Lu and Miss Fei's TV series is currently being broadcast on satellite TV. We can take advantage of it for publicity." He said regretfully, "There were so many interviews and program invitations a few days ago. It would have been great if we could have accepted them all." In the eyes of this studio director, Lu Qin was simply wasting God's gifts. Lu Qin smiled and said, "Uncle Chang, don't worry. I know what I'm doing." It was not that he did not want to take advantage of it, but that the time was not ripe yet. However, it would be soon. On February 5th, Lu Qin Studio and A Chinese Ghost Story released new stills of the movie on the official V of Waves blog and Hong Kong blog at the same time. There were a total of 20 photos. Chin Fei's studio reposted these stills, and the publicity for A Chinese Ghost Story in the mainland and Hong Kong officially joined the movie's promotional war for the new year. As Lu Qin and Chin Fei were currently very popular, these beautifully designed stills immediately caused widespread discussion among fans on the internet. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.